You're watching TSN, the Sports Network.
Frustration was the operative word for Saskatchewan last Friday night at McMahon Stadium. Kent Austin completed 32 passes for 380 yards, but just one completion went for a touchdown. Dave Ridgway kicked 6 field goals, but that wasn't enough either. Terrence Jones stepped in for the injured Danny Barrett and rushed for 2 touchdowns, including this 44-yard scamper late in the 4th quarter. Mark McLaughlin kicked 5 field goals for Calgary, and that was enough for a 30-25 Stampeder win. Tonight in the rematch, Kent Austin starts at quarterback for Saskatchewan, and Danny Barrett is healthy and takes over for Terrence Jones as the Stampeders starter. It's the Roughriders of the Stampeders, live from Taylor Field in Regina.
Molson CFL Game of the Week on TSN. An exclusive presentation of Molson Canadian, what beer's all about.
Welcome to Taylor Field in Regina. A few minutes before kickoff, the Calgary Stampeders and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Some showers moving through the area, and the field is pretty wet, but the temperature's in the low 20s, and we're looking for a good evening of football from 2 great Western rivals. Hi again, everybody. Peter Watts with you. This is a great rivalry over the years. The last 10 games have been split right down the middle. The Roughriders won 3 of 4 last year, including the Western semifinal at McMahon Stadium in Calgary en route to the Grey Cup. And the Stampeders, of course, came through with a victory last week at McMahon Stadium. So the second of 3 meetings this year. A great rivalry and lots to talk about as we go to the broadcast booth and bring in John Wells and Leif Pedersen.
All right, Peter, and here's an interesting story. The Calgary Stampeders are gunning for top spot. If they win tonight and make it, it would be the first time they have been in sole possession of first place in the CFL Western Division since 1971. And Leif, that is quite a story.
I think it's a great story, John, and I think it's a reflection of their head coach, Wally Buono. You know, he was a great player when he played in Montreal years ago. He was a great leader on that team, and I think his leadership qualities are showing in his young players.
Saskatchewan Roughriders offensively would like to get the football to Tim McRae just a little bit more this evening. He can run the football and he can receive. He's a good player.
Well, John, I think Timmy McRae's in for a huge night tonight. If I was the offensive coordinator of Saskatchewan, I would make sure Timmy McRae caught 10 passes tonight. Calgary's defense, they're in love with the zone defense. That means dump it off to McRae in the flat and let him run with it. He should have a big, big night. Saskatchewan
Roughriders also have Don Narcisse on the outside, and he is an outstanding receiver, but that's Leaf's best matchup tonight as Narcisse goes against Ronnie Hopkins.
You know, John, I've been a huge fan of Ronnie Hopkins over the years. I think he's one of the most underrated corners in the league. He moves over from the left side to the hot corner this year, the right side, and you know, he's got a great deal of zest and enthusiasm for the game, and boy, he matches it with some tremendous raw talent too. I like watching him play, and I think that's going to be an interesting matchup that we'll certainly follow tonight.
Now, Leif, is there a quarterback controversy in Calgary with Barrett and Jones right now?
I don't think so, John. You know, Wally Buono won't admit it that Danny Barrett's his starter, but I think he'd like him to start every game this year and only bring Terrence Jones in a relief role, and boy, I think that's the way it should be. Bring the young guy along slowly and let the veteran take the reins.
We'll see how it unfolds tonight here at Taylor Field. The rematch is on TSN this evening.
All right, John and Leif, thank you so much. So we're ready for a great matchup, Calgary and Saskatchewan. Enough talk. Let's kick the football and get things started. We'll do that when we come back right after this.
Dave Ewell will be in charge of proceedings here at Taylor Field tonight in his 9th CFL year. There's the rest of the cast working with the head referee tonight. Hometown is Lethbridge, Alberta for Dave Ewell. The Stampeders and the Roughriders. The rematch at Taylor Field this evening. Stamps won by 5 in week 2, and we are underway. Stampeder kickoff taken by Tim McRae. And McRae has some room to the outside. Opening play, and McRae races inside the 40-yard line, 45-yard line. Sapungis made the tackle for Calgary. So we'll set it up offensively for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
McRae pushed into touch at the 43.
Ken Austin is the starting quarterback. Inside receivers, Ray Elgard, James Ellingson. The running backs, Tim McRae and Milson Jones. Elgard, the intended receiver, and it was over his head.
Well, I really think David McCrary, number 3, might have had a chance to pick it off, but he wanted to give Elgard the extra shot.
Veteran line up front, Leaf.
Boy, is it ever. Roger Aldag, 15-year starter for the Roughriders. Bob Poley on the other side at the guard spot, 13 years in the league. Kenny Moore back from the injury. Austin, of course, John told you, the starting quarterback. Mark Guy gets the start at wide receiver tonight, along with Darren Narcisse, who's excellent.
This is Tim McRae. The Riders wanted to get him the ball, and they do so early, as McRae on 2nd and 10 should have a first down. No flags are down as Greg Peterson makes the stop. 11-yard gain up front defensively for the Stampeders. Johnson, Warnock, Price, and Ballard. The newcomer in the middle at the linebacking spot is Joe Clossy, with Ford and Finley, and the secondary pretty much intact from last year. Corners Hopkins and Thurman, inside McCrary. McCray once more, and Will Johnson made the stop.
Timmy McRae, the all-purpose yardage leader last year in the Canadian Football League. That's kick returning, catching the football, and running with it from scrimmage. 2,684 yards. Pretty good year for him.
And a gain of 3 on that last play, Leaf. This will be 2nd and 7, Saskatchewan, just inside the Calgary 30. Austin in trouble, and he is downed by Will Johnson.
Well, Will Johnson keeps his streak intact. He's played 11 games for the Stampeders going back to last year. He's had a sack in every game that he's played in, and he picks one up here early. His 3rd of the season so far. 6'5", 240 pounds. He's actually shaken up a little bit. He joined the Calgary Stampeders late last season, originally drafted by the Chicago Bears from Northeast Louisiana State. Extremely fast.
And that is Will Johnson in obvious discomfort down there right now. Early in the opening quarter at Taylor Field. Rain earlier, but it seems fairly dry out there right now.
Just a speed rush from the outside, working on number 62, Vic Stevenson. Gets around him, and Kent Austin forced up into the pocket once again. I mentioned in the opening that Calgary loves to play that zone defense. They dropped 8 people back, just rushed 4, and still were able to get pressure on Kent Austin.
There is the rookie and unbeaten head coach of the Calgary Stampeders, Wally Buono.
Really a nice guy. You know, I played against Wally when he played with the Montreal Alouettes, and on the field as a player, really a classy individual, good hard player, clean player, and well, I think the guys and players in Calgary are really going to enjoy having him as a head coach. Doesn't get too hyper. Put together a nice coaching staff. John Huffnagel, the offensive coordinator, and Jeff Tedford, former quarterback with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, is coaching the receivers. Get some pretty good help in those areas. Let's go back and have a look at Will Johnson, exactly how he hurt that leg. Well, I tell you, I can't figure that one out. Nobody really fell on him.
Being helped off now, Will Johnson.
Boy, the knee injuries, though, you know, it doesn't take much. Little twist here or there.
From 42 yards away, then, Dave Ridgway gets the first scoring opportunity of this football evening at Taylor Field. And he hit the post that time. No good. Ridgway, previously good on 9 of 10.
Goal attempt from the 43 is nullified.
Trainer Pat Clayton checking the outside of the right knee of Will Johnson. They do not want to lose him. Stu Laird, who had a devastating knee injury last year, has been rehabilitated in the offseason. He is back in the lineup as a backup capacity. I suspect he would take Johnson's place.
Danny Barrett listed as the starting quarterback for this one tonight. Stampeders first down.
Danny Barrett, quarterback. The ball carries.
Up front, Spallettini at center, Hutchings and Blanchard the guards, Powell and Fairbanks the tackles for the Stampeders. Outside, a couple of new receivers in Eddie Brown and Alan Pitts. Marshall Toner is in there along with Smith. Barrett the quarterback, McVeigh and Jenkins are the running backs. Andy McVeigh and Keevan Jenkins.
Keevan Jenkins from the old BC Lion days.
This is 2nd and 6, far side. Marshall Toner can't hang on. Richie Hall. Stanley Hairston actually making the hit.
The only rookie to crack the Saskatchewan Roughriders starting lineup this year, Stacey Hairston, number 2 from Ohio Northern University in the old Ohio Valley Conference, along with schools such as Otterbein.
Otterbein is in that
Wittenberg.
conference. Yes, sir.
Kenyon.
Brett Maddich gets a decent kick away. This is Jeff Treflin on the return, and he is stopped near the Saskatchewan 45. Dan Wicklum leading the Calgary tacklers on that stop. No score early in the opening quarter. Calgary and Saskatchewan at Taylor Field.
There's going to be Bridgerton, Saskatchewan for 45. Now, a word from today's game sponsors.
Don Narcisse, one of the outstanding receivers in Canadian Football League last year.
Well, he's been with the club for 4 years now, very comfortable with the offense. A couple of years ago, you know, he was struggling. Last year, a great year. And tonight we asked him before the game, great matchup against Ronnie Hopkins. What do you think of Ronnie Hopkins? How do you assess him?
I'll tell you what, the last game we played was my first time really playing against him, and the coaches always said he stays in his back pedal, but playing against him for the last game, he didn't get a back pedal. So I'm looking forward to taking him out his back pedal, and you know, we played him. We're gonna play him 4 times this year, and hands down, he won the first game. So I'm looking forward to a good game, and I'm looking forward to going deep on him.
Hey, you don't get a guy admitting that the defensive guy won the battle in the first one, but pretty candid by Don Narcisse. And a little later on, we're going to show you how Ronnie Hopkins feels about Don Narcisse and his abilities. With no question, an interesting matchup to watch. The 2 great players going one-on-one.
44.5.
It is 1st and 10 for Saskatchewan at the 44. Austin looking long. Dangerous territory as Greg Peterson was over there.
Pass headed for Mark Guy.
Mark Guy was the intended receiver.
2nd and 10.
Well, we gave Don Narcisse his turn. Now Ronnie Hopkins. Tell us about Don Narcisse. What do you think about his abilities?
Well, the biggest thing with Don is the fact that he's blessed with a lot of ability. He's got great speed and good quickness, and he has the ability to go up for the ball when it's in traffic with strong hands. So, you know, you look at him and you try to figure out, well, what are you going to do to try to stop him? And the biggest thing is just to sit back and relax and try to let him beat himself.
Here they are, and here is 2nd down and 10 to go. Saskatchewan far side. Ellingson brings it down, number 85. Ellingson starting tonight.
Jeff Fairholm out with a hamstring injury, close to coming back in the lineup, but Saskatchewan has the luxury of having James Ellingson in a backup capacity and really could start for a number of teams. Good size, 6'1", 190 pounds, good target for Ken Austin. He makes a nice catch for a first down.
A 15-yard gain. Roughriders on the move as Austin looks for Narcisse, and he's a little high with the toss. Hopkins covering.
Well, you heard Don Narcisse tell you he wanted to get in behind Ronnie Hopkins for the deep one tonight, but that time Ronnie Hopkins won the battle. And I thought it was interesting to hear Hopkins say that what he admired most about Narcisse was the fact that he catches the ball in traffic, not afraid to take a hit, and that's kind of the feeling around the league about Don Narcisse. Pretty tough young receiver. Here you see Hopkins with great position. He said, sit back deep in the back pedal and relax and just play everything in front of you, and you can't do it any better than that.
Narcisse is out for this sequence, and he is replaced by number 84, Slater Zaleski. That moves Ellingson to the outside. 2nd and 10. Austin dumps it off. This is Tim McRae. McRae one-on-one, and wins that battle for a first down. Darryl Hall lost that little exchange there, toe-to-toe with Tim McRae. McRae wins.
Sorry, John, we talked about this in the opening. Calgary in love with that zone. Drop the linebackers deep. Well, Ken Austin has to dump it off to Timmy McRae, and this is what he should do all night until the defensive backs and linebackers come up and honor it. McRae's good enough to catch it and pick up the extra yards for the first down.
First down. Tim McRae. Stopped by Kent Warnock.
Contact by Kent Warnock.
The Warrior, Kent Warnock, number 93 in the middle. First round draft choice of the Stampeders back in 1986.
6'7", 270 pounds.
Oh, he's a good size, isn't he? Nice guy, too. We talked to him in the lobby today, and boy, my neck got sore looking up at him. He is tall.
Stand on a chair. 2nd and 10, Saskatchewan. Over the middle for McRae. And David McCrary, number 3, was covering.
John, what Ken Austin has to realize, and I mean, this is not a surprise to him. All last week, Calgary played zone. There have been no changes so far here in the first quarter. Every down, they're sitting back deep in the zone. You just can't go over the top of it. You have to throw underneath it. And I'm sure as Ken Austin comes to the sidelines, he will talk to his people on the bench and spotters upstairs, and they've got to tell him, Kent, you've got to establish something short underneath it to bring those guys up. You will not hit the home run against it.
Ridgway hit the post in his last try this time from 45 away, and no mistake about it. Dave Ridgway has given the Saskatchewan Roughriders a 3-point lead. 9:21 to play in the opening quarter at Taylor Field. It's the rematch, Calgary at Saskatchewan.
Congratulations to the fans.
Will Johnson sitting on the Calgary bench. He's got an ice pack on his right knee. He took a kick on the incision of an old college injury. He's got ice on it right now. He's going to try it again in a couple of series, and he hopes to be back in the lineup quickly. Leaf and John, you were talking about the importance of Tim McRae in this ball game. He handled the ball 13 times last week in Calgary. He may get it that many times in the first half here tonight.
Well, he's got an impressive rushing average at 5.5 so far in 1990. But now it is up to Ridgway to kick away after his 3-pointer. The Roughriders on top, 3-0, opening quarter. This is Keevan Jenkins on the return for the Stampeders. He has room to the outside. He'll be tough to stop. One man back and brought him down at the 40. Albert Brown makes the stop. Keevan Jenkins after a 56-yard kickoff return.
The Calgary Stampeders have always done a super job on kickoff returns, whether it be a Keevan Jenkins or a Ronnie Hopkins. And boy, to get nice field position like this is so good for your offense. Watch Keevan Jenkins. Good lead block coming up from Ronnie Hopkins there to get him, spring him loose. Matt Finley, 37, with another block. It doesn't take much. Usually just one good block on a kickoff return, and you can get a lot of yardage.
First down for the Stampeders at the Saskatchewan 10. Flags down as Barrett looks to the far side. Eddie Brown makes the catch. He's in first down territory. Could be a procedure call. We'll let Dave Ewell make the announcement official against the Roughriders.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 72 is declined. First down.
So the catch by Eddie Brown stands. A little quick hitch pass, get a blocker out in front, and he picks up a first down. Danny Barrett at the controls tonight, leading the league, 3 rushing touchdowns.
First down for the Stampeders. They're now at the Saskatchewan 29. Jenkins hit behind the line of scrimmage by Dave Albright.
How about Dave Albright? For the last 3 years in a row, he's led the Saskatchewan defense in tackles. Last year again led in tackles, and he missed the last 6 games of the season. Not bad. 5 years, San Jose University, 6'2", 235. Boy, I'll tell you, you talk about a guy that plays hurt. He has probably never played a pro game where he's felt good. I mean, that's a real tribute to him.
A loss of 3, 2nd and 13 now. Barrett has a man open and overthrew Eddie Brown.
Well, I chatted with John Huffnagel, the offensive coordinator of the Stampeders, before the game, and I talked to him about what kind of a game plan that Calgary had tonight, and he said, Leaf, he said, we just have to be aware of the blitz and try and hit the big play off it. Danny Barrett saw the blitz coming, had the perfect play called to Eddie Brown, one-on-one with Albert Brown, but just overthrew it. There's John Huffnagel, had so many great years in the CFL with Calgary, Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, Penn State, originally he was from.
Mark McLaughlin for the tie, and he gets it. First field goal for the Calgary Stampeders. And we're all even at 3. 7:27 to play in the opening quarter at Taylor Field. Last week, Stampeders 5-point winners, 30-25 over Saskatchewan. Calgary tied BC in week 1. So they're standing there with a shot at top spot in the West after a loss by the Eskimos to the Ottawa Roughriders last night.
I think that's what Calgary's done well in their first 2 games this season, has taken advantage of their opportunities. Good kickoff return by Keyvan Jenkins at 56 yards. They come away with 3 points to tie this game up, and that's got to be a positive sign for the offense.
Preparing now for the Stampeder kickoff. Albert Brown and Jeff Treflin are deep for Saskatchewan. This is Albert Brown. He's at the 30. Another good return as Brown gets that across the 45. Stopped there by Ken Ford.
Boy, pretty much the same return that the Calgary Stampeders used with Keyvan Jenkins. They try and go to the wide side of the field and establish just a little lane for Albert Brown to run through. Got through it initially, but then a good tackle by Kenny Ford kept them from going the distance. But once again, the Saskatchewan Roughriders find themselves starting their drive in pretty good field position.
First down, Saskatchewan. With the Roughrider 45, this is Tim McRae. Nice lane for McRae. He has another Saskatchewan first down on the ground. Kent Warnock caught up to him from behind after a 13-yard gain.
Another first down.
Well, everybody blocks back, and big number 64, Kenny Moore, the left tackle, comes flying around the corner and leading the way for Timmy McRae to pick up 13 yards. And boy, as we suggested early, he is the guy that I think has to have the huge game for the Riders for them to be successful tonight.
Another first down, this time from the 52. Looking long, and Mark Guy couldn't quite get a hand on it.
Well, they sure had what they wanted. Anytime you get the middle safety to bite up, you have a chance to hit that deep post pattern. Greg Peterson, number 24, in the middle, got caught up, and Mark Guy 1-on-1. On the outside where Junior Thurman was in behind, but just Ken Austin overthrew him just by a little bit. Mark Guy in his second year from Tennessee. Martin, 5'9", 170. Played 7 games last year. In fact, played in the Western Final and the Grey Cup for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And Austin has had a little difficulty hitting the target so far tonight. 2nd and 10 now. Flags are down. McRae carries well short of the first down. He grabbed 4 yards. Stampeders were offside.
Offside. Calgary 75. 2nd down repeated.
Stu Laird. Laird not listed as a starter tonight. He's in with Will Johnson out of the lineup. Should be 2nd and 5, Saskatchewan. McRae looking for 5. He can't even get back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, that was the play he ran a couple of plays ago and picked up 13 yards, but number 75, Stu Laird, did a great job of getting upfield and taking on the blocker, the lead blocker, 64, Kenny Moore. And then, of course, Mitchell Price cleaned up and made the tackle, but you know, you fool him once, you can't fool him twice. It's good front four for the Calgary Stampeders, even though Will Johnson is out right now with a knee injury.
First punt of the night now for Mike Lazecki, averaging 30.1 on the season. The average a little deceptive because he ended up kicking into the wind the other nights. Now he has trouble there. Got it away. Flag down. He bobbled it, Leaf.
Yeah, once he bobbles it and maybe looks as though he's going to run with it, it becomes fair game if he leaves the kicking lane. So that's what Stu Laird was thinking. He went in and just went for the tackle.
They waved off the penalty.
Yeah,
so
that's
the punt
good call.
will stand.
Good call by the referees there.
All even at Taylor Field in Regina. Calgary and Saskatchewan are here tonight. John Wells along with Lee Pedersen and Peter Watts. Taylor Field tonight's 3-3 Calgary, Saskatchewan on the TSN Game of the Week. Kent Austin has had a little difficulty igniting the Rough Rider offense so far, but he's no worse than even so far.
Well, he's got his club 3-3, but I think he really has to have a chat with Pal Sartori, who's the offensive coach up in the booth, and kind of recognize what the Stampeders are doing. They're not throwing a lot of blitzes. They're playing very basic defense, and the defense that I think Ken Austin can have some success with. He just has to run some pass patterns designed to go against the zone, throw some hooks, some little swings to his back. On the other hand, Wally Buono knows with his linebacking core, he has to protect them in the zone because of the newcomer, Joe Clausey, in the middle. He can't get too fancy with the young guy in there.
1st and 10, Stampeders at the Calgary 34. Barrett, throw right away. Derek Crawford, number 83. Grabbed a yard.
Calgary overloading to the wide side of the field with 3 wide receivers and the quick screen. Derek Crawford makes the catch, but Richie Hall forces it back to the inside and gets some help from Eddie Lowe. And that's good defense by Richie Hall to force it back to the inside.
2nd and 9. Barrett in trouble and gets away. 1st down, Calgary, as Barrett crosses the 45.
At line 39, Dave Allbright.
Well, that's why you talk about Danny Barrett as a guy that if you had your choice of 5 or 6 quarterbacks throughout the league, you know, he wouldn't make the list. But boy, oh boy, he's just a guy that goes out with a big heart and does anything that he has to try and generate offense for his club. And if that means run with the football and try and split some tacklers like Big Dave Allbright, he'll do it. He dives for the 1st down. That's a great job.
Calgary 1st down at the 45. Andy McVeigh in amongst a pile of Saskatchewan tacklers. Not much room that time for Andy McVeigh.
Well, since being drafted 4 years ago from the University of Toronto, Andy McVeigh has not missed a game with the Calgary Stampeders, playing in his 56th straight football game tonight. Pretty nice accomplishment.
Certainly is. There are a few long-serving Saskatchewan Roughriders out there, too. Roger Alday.
Oh, yeah.
Going for 219 consecutive games tonight. 2nd and 7. And the receiver didn't see it coming. Eddie Brown turned a little bit too late.
Well, you can't throw it any better, and Eddie Brown knows he should have been able to make the catch on that one. Only a little guy, 5'11", 178. But he's made some big catches for the Stampeders so far in 1990. That one he definitely should have had. We asked John Huffnagel about Eddie Brown and some of his capabilities. He said, gosh, he's got great hands. Didn't have them there. He does have great hands, trust me, folks. He's got great speed. The one thing that he's lacking coming out of university from Iowa State is the ability to run great, precise pass patterns. But along with Jeff Tedford, rather, the receiver coach, they're going to work with him day after day, and they think that he has the potential to be a really good one. 4.3 speed in the 40. That'll get you there in a hurry.
8 catches, 159 yards for Eddie Brown so far this season. Richie Hall shaken up. Brett managed to kick now, averaging 38.2. Ray of sunshine out over Taylor Field now. Brown and Treflin deep for Saskatchewan. Bouncing for Albert Brown. And the Rough Riders couldn't get a block thrown down there. Andy McVeigh leading the Calgary tacklers, number 34. 3-3 with just under 3 minutes to play in the opening quarter.
First and 10, Saskatchewan at the 26.
Roughriders first and 10. Austin at the 26, in trouble again and down once more. Stu Laird, number 75, should get credit for that quarterback sack. Second of the ball game for Calgary.
6 years from the University of Calgary. Stu Laird had the knee injury last year, missed all of the season, played the opening game. Actually had the knee injury occur here in Regina last season, and now he's been rehabilitated, getting a chance to play tonight.
Second and 10, Austin to the far side. Short of the first down as Ellingson brought it down. Junior Thurman, number 2, was covering Ellingson on the play. Now, how short will it be? Well, the Riders send in the kicking team.
Well, there's no secrets to what Calgary's doing on defense. You know, sit back in the zone, play everything in front of you, and come up and make the tackle. And so far here in the first quarter, they've done an excellent job at it. That's the kind of thing that will frustrate Ken Austin. He likes to air it out and get deep, but boy, he just can't do it against this defense.
Mike Lozecki barely got his first one away. This is taken by Eddie Brown. Rasevich and Coley, the Saskatchewan tacklers. 30-yard punt that time, a 3-yard return.
Eddie Brown on the receiving end of the punt. First and 10, Calgary at the 39-yard line.
So from the 39, first down Calgary. Danny Barrett at the control. Doc Smith. Stopped by Eddie Lowe, number 42, with Suter moving up to help out.
Well, this is a typical Danny Barrett start. He's now 3 of 6, right around 50%. Nice safe pass to the outside to Brock Smith, and he keeps his 21-game pass-catching streak alive now with that reception. Second year from Fresno State. Little jitterbug, 6 foot, 175 pounds. Got some pretty quick feet on him when he gets in the open field.
Brock Smith grabbed 10. This is first and 10 now at the 49. Keevan Jenkins and Lowe in on the tackle once more.
Keevan Jenkins, 1984 with the BC Lions. He was an All-Canadian. Left to try his luck in the National Football League. Could not catch up with anybody down there. And what do you know? He resurfaces in Calgary as their starting running back in 1990.
He hasn't been around the league for quite some time. This is second and 9 facing Calgary. Barrett will go himself. He's well short of the first down, stopped near midfield.
You know, John,
right and low.
Sorry, John, the thing I like about Danny Barrett, and he's only played one game, but no interceptions. I know he hasn't thrown a touchdown pass, but he doesn't beat himself. He runs with the ball rather than throw it up for grabs, and boy, that's a good sign.
That is quarter number 1 at Taylor Field. So far, it's all even. Stampeders have 3, likewise for the Roughriders. Quarter 2 in just a moment. Back ready for the second quarter now. Calgary at Saskatchewan, even at 3. Stampeders in a third down kicking situation. Managed with the left foot. Treflin back near his 5. And Treflin got away from one. That was Hopkins. Grabbed a couple of yards after that. They will begin at the 10-yard line.
Let's have a look at the numbers from the first quarter of play. It's pretty even, as you would see by the net yards. 41 for Calgary, 56 for Saskatchewan, and the 3-3 ball game. And the good news, guys, is up behind the West Grandstand looks like blue sky and no clouds, and that means no rain, we hope, because I'm still drying out down here.
And that must mean that Peter's a pretty happy guy.
I would think so. Nothing but blue skies over Taylor Field in the forecast. Roughriders first down at the 10. Good move by McCray. Short of the first down.
Wasn't that an outstanding move? A little stutter step to the outside. It looked like everything was jammed up, and well, he picks up 8 yards in the play. Nice cut to the outside. Timmy McCray follows the block of Bob Foley, and Vic Stevenson, the right tackle, and then makes a couple of extra yards on his own.
Short yardage team is in now for 2nd and 2. McCray has the first down. Matt Finley made the stop.
Great tackle.
Well, it's kind of surprising to me, John, as we've played a little over a quarter of football. I don't believe Milson Jones has touched the football yet tonight.
I don't think he has. Kent Austin having some difficulties here in the early going. 3 of 9 for 37 yards. He's a quarterback who likes to air it out, get that football in the air, and get some receptions. So far, he has not had many. Maybe this time on first down. Not noted as a runner. Kent Austin grabs a couple.
You know, he hasn't been in the past noted as a runner, but this year he's averaging over 5 yards a carry, and boy, he put a great move on there to pick up an extra couple of yards and avoid the sack. Picked up 2 yards there. There you see his numbers in 1990, but you know he would much prefer to throw it than run it.
Calgary Stampeders must be happy to be in a 3-3 ball game against the Saskatchewan.
Oh, they're delirious. John Gregory, he's not happy with that. He'd like to get in a shootout, but Stampeders love a defensive game.
Intercepted. Picked off by Clausey. Joe Clausey, the new middle linebacker of the Stampeders, has the first turnover.
Is he not a great story? Now, he comes to training camp in 1990. He's been a defensive end all his life at the University of Utah. Now he's competing with Will Johnson. They say, heck, he's not going to beat out Will Johnson. Let's see if he can play middle linebacker. We had to replace Tank Landry. What does he do? He makes the club, makes the middle linebacking spot. He's a great size, and now he's got his first interception as a pro football player. Not bad.
He leads the team in tackles coming into this one. 1st and 10, Stampeders on the turnover, beginning at the Saskatchewan 18. Flags are down. Toner, I believe, the intended receiver, number 76.
There's a good look at Joe Clausey on the sidelines. I mean, that's a great story, eh? You've been a defensive end all your life, and now you're playing a new spot and having success.
Number 4, first down repeated.
Albert Brown, the corner, must have been encroaching on that 1-yard zone, and he got called for the outside.
First down repeated with 5 to go for the Stampeders at the Saskatchewan 13. First good scoring threat of the ball game. Andy McVay down to the 2. It'll be a first down, and the Stampeders will be tough to keep out of the end zone from here.
Andy McVay has really blossomed in 1990. You know, Tim Petros was the starting fullback. Injury is keeping him out of the lineup, and Andy McVay has come in, and well, the offense hasn't missed a beat with him in there at that fullback spot.
It'll be 1st and goal to go Calgary from the 2. Van Jenkins, and the Roughriders keep him out.
What a great job along the left side of that Saskatchewan front 4. Looked as though Key Van Jenkins was going to have no trouble getting into the end zone. Lead block from Andy McVay, but as you see from a good shot at the ground level, Saskatchewan front 4 got enough penetration to keep him out.
The Stamps, though, are a yard closer. 2nd and goal from the 1. This time, the wide side tried, and McVay can't make it in. A big defensive stand by the Roughriders, led by Brown and Eddie Lowe.
Albert Brown makes a huge play. Glenn Suter with some support from the safety spot. The Stampeders with a little trickery down on the goal line trying to run the option play. Danny Barrett on the pitch out to Keevan Jenkins, and Albert Brown came up and played it perfectly.
Offside, Saskatchewan, first down.
But
I didn't see the flag.
I didn't see it either, John. How about that for a big break for the Stampeders? We'll fake to Jenkins, flip out to Andy McVeigh, Glenn Suter, and Eddie Lowe. Wasn't Albert Brown. I gave him credit for that, but I saw number 4, but it was 42, Eddie Lowe. Nice job. Sorry, Eddie. I'll give you credit for it now, but it doesn't really matter because...
No, 3 cracks from the 1. Yes. First and goal from the 1 for the Stampeders. Jenkins has the touchdown. Keevan Jenkins. Second touchdown of the season.
Nice job, Brian Hutchings, Tom Spallettini, and Lloyd Fairbanks on the right side. Lead block from Andy McVeigh, and a pretty easy trip up and over and into the end zone for Keevan Jenkins. His first touchdown, second touchdown of 1990 on the ground. The Stampeders take advantage of the turnover, the interception by Joe Clausey, and they have a chance to go ahead by 7.
The convert is good, and the Calgary Stampeders have the lead by a touchdown, 10-3 on the Roughriders at Taylor Field in Regina.
Stampeders just took over 2 minutes to get the ball into the end zone following the Joe Clausey interception. 4 plays, 13 yards, the 1-yard run by Keevan Jenkins. They still have not thrown the ball for a touchdown this year. As long as they're scoring, who really cares?
Keevan Jenkins' first touchdown of the night at Taylor Field. We thought we might see a couple more by this stage of things. So far, just 1. Good enough for a 7-point lead for the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, Calgary would love to have a low-scoring game. We've talked about that, unless they're the ones doing the scoring. No, but their style is to keep it low because they're not an explosive offensive team and try and play good defense. Saskatchewan, however, last year and this year at the top of the league in total offense. They would like to see a high-scoring game, I'm sure. So would the fans here at Taylor Field.
They'd like to see more scoring from the guys in green. There's no doubt about that. 10:28 to go, second quarter.
Check that out. Average points scored per game, and you see in the last 3 years it's getting progressively higher and higher. In last night's game in Ottawa, well, that helped to boost the average a few.
Those numbers through the first 9 games of the CFL season. Albert Brown's return out just across the 30.
Oh, you look at a team and you try and analyze how they're playing, and special teams is usually a great indicator. And tonight the Calgary Stampeders have done an excellent job covering Brent Matich's punts. And now on the kickoff by Mark McLaughlin. Anytime you keep the opponent inside their 35-yard line, you've done a good job. Where does Saskatchewan start? 32 and a half. Good job.
We'll see what Kent Austin can get going here. Milson Jones, a big first down as Jones is out to the 50. They were listening to you, Leaf.
Well,
they forgot about Milson and they found him.
Well, and not only that, it took a while, but Ken Austin has finally realized that he can't go over top of his zone, and he has to go underneath with his running backs. And Milson Jones is an excellent receiver out of the backfield. A circle pattern, he gets it to him quickly, allows him to run with it, and comes up with his 8th catch of the year.
17 yards for Milson Jones. First down, Saskatchewan at the 50. Again, Austin dumps it out. Another first down. Milson Jones. 13 that time. The safety, Greg Peterson, coming up to make the stop.
Another excellent play against the zone defense with the linebackers dropping off is, of course, to run the screen. Let everybody run deep, dump it off to Milson Jones, and how about this for nifty? Up and over, and 13 yards, back-to-back first downs.
From the 48, another Saskatchewan first down. And this is Milson Jones along the ground. He's to the 40 of the Stampeders. Kent Warnock made the stop there.
Maybe my mic is hooked into John Gregory or something. I don't know.
He'll watch the replay and wonder if maybe he didn't hear you.
9th year in the Canadian Football League, 3rd year with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Originally began, of course, with Winnipeg moved on to Edmonton. They released him. And Saskatchewan happy to get him and have him in their lineup.
2nd and 2. Jones stopped initially. Now, did he get enough? Maybe a yard shy. They will measure this one. The numbers on Milson so far.
That's a pretty good yard. I see no reason not to go for it, and I'm sure John Gregory feels that way. He's always had a good short yardage offense. Milson Jones at 6'1", 225 pounds, a good guy to give it to.
Jones has been involved in all 4 plays on this particular drive. 3rd down, 1 to go. Saskatchewan at the Calgary 39. And that's enough for the first down with no flags anywhere. The Roughriders will continue the drive.
Good power running here by Milson Jones. Nothing fancy. Good lead block from 57 Bob Poley. Just enough to pave the way for Milson Jones to get through. Square his shoulders to the line of scrimmage and power his way to that first down. Pretty safe gamble with that short yardage offense when you only need 1 yard.
Veteran line up front. Just follow the big guy. This is Tim McRae, and he's to the 30. Stu Laird made the stop. Just over 5 yards.
He never ceases to amaze me. Yesterday in the press conference, John Gregory said, yeah, we would like to establish the run tonight. It's going to be a big part of our game plan. And yet they don't start to do it till the 2nd quarter. Oh, well. Coach's prerogative, I guess.
But maybe that's because Wally was listening.
Oh, no, Wally wouldn't do that. He wasn't outside the door listening in.
2nd and 5, Saskatchewan. This drive continues. The Calgary 30. Austin now looking long. There's interference on the intended receiver, Tim McRae. Isolated McRae on Classy. And Classy, I guess, really might have had to bring him down.
Well, this is what the Calgary Stampeders absolutely do not want.
Calgary number 60, first down.
Well, there's no question about it. Excellent call by the official, but you know, Wally Buono, that's his biggest fear in having Classy playing in the middle linebacking spot.
Hey, Joe!
Yeah, he's calling to Joe, saying, Joe, they're going to run it. And I'd say that might be a pretty good bet. Wally, former linebacker, has a sense for these things.
1st and goal to go. Saskatchewan at the 8. Milson Jones grabs a couple. That play was a little slow in developing.
Just to finish my thought on Joe Classy, the worst scenario they can have is when they come with the blitz is to get that matchup, a back on the middle linebacker. And, of course, that's what happened with Timmy McRae. And Joe Classy just hasn't had enough experience in pass coverage. He's okay against the run because he's been a defensive end and sort of understands the running game. But the passing game, boy, that's foreign territory for him. And I think they'll cease with the blitz after that one.
2nd and goal to go. Saskatchewan at the 6. Austin looks deep. Mark Guy. And there were a couple with Guy, Junior Thurman, and the safety, Greg Peterson.
Ronnie, come to watch the fake.
That's a good point, Wally. Watch the fake.
Dave Ridgway is in. This will be his 3rd try of the night. Hit the post on the first one. Made the 2nd from 45. And this from 12 yards away. No problem for Ridgway. A 4-point ball game now as Ridgway has his 2nd field goal of the night at Taylor Field. The Stampeders, though, continue to lead 10-6.
Only 2 Grey Cups in the history of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. One man's been involved in both of them. He'll be John Wells' guest at halftime, live from Taylor Field in Regina.
Al Ford, general manager of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Old teammate of yours.
He was a great player, you know, great punter. Fans across the country will remember his days as a punter and as a tight end, but boy, he played running back, slot back, tight end, probably played some defense. I don't exactly recall, but he is a great guy and doing a super job as general manager.
Were you the backup punter to Ford in those days?
I was the backup to the backup to the backup. I think.
You did a little kicking, though, didn't you?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit.
On the return for Calgary, this is Ronnie Hopkins. Great speed. He's got room to the outside. And Hopkins gets all the way to the Saskatchewan 30. Richie Hall caught up to him from behind. We were talking about excellent special team work for the Stampeders.
48-yard kickoff return for Ronnie Hopkins. And in talking to John Gregory yesterday, I said, what scares you the most about the Calgary Stampeders? He said, that man right there, Ronnie Hopkins, and his kickoff returns. We have to stop him. They haven't been able to.
Here's the Calgary first down, far side. Brock Smith steps out, short of a first down.
Go, Calgary! Stubby, listen tight, Stubby!
Now, you know, Ronnie asked me, he's got a lot of friends. He's trying to tell you right now down at Coconut Joe's in Calgary, and Stubby is the general manager. Ronnie asked me if I would say hello to all the guys and gals watching down there.
They'll be watching.
Well, we might see them. We'll be there next Friday.
Coconut Joe's. 2nd and 4. Toner converts for Calgary. Another first down.
You talk about underrated players. Marshall Toner has to be at the top of the list. Played 5 years with the Stampeders now from the University of Saskatchewan. I'll get it out. Was an All-Canadian 2 times there. Nobody thought enough of him to draft him. Came as a free agent to Calgary and been a great slot back for them. Boy, Danny Barrett's had success throwing those quick outs tonight and picking up 6 yards of crack. It's been a good offense.
Down to the 18, the Stampeders now with a first down. Far side, Randy McVeigh. Stopped short of a first down, but he gets to the 10. Larry Hogue made the stop. Barrett has been on the money. 4:24 till the half.
Well, Danny Barrett's really using the smarts here in this first half. And he's throwing passes that are easy for him to complete, easy for his receivers to catch. And boy, it's been a very intelligent offensive game plan for the Stampeders. Keep it short and simple and complete a lot of balls.
Stampeders 2nd and 2 now. Ball at the Saskatchewan 10. McVeigh now. He may not have the first down. Maybe a little shy. We'll see where they spot it. Saskatchewan linebacker Eddie Lowe in on the tackle.
Request Ford.
10-6. The visiting Calgary Stampeders out in front of Saskatchewan. Stampeders threatening to add to that lead here.
You know, this could be the difference. John Gregory, as the head coach of the Riders, you know, he never worries about his short yardage team. You know, if it's 1 yard or less, he just says automatic, we're going for it. We got Milson Jones, and Calgary, on the other hand, a little different. They don't have quite the short yardage offense that the Riders do, and so this is really decision time for head coach Wally Buono. Andy McVeigh, you know, the biggest back they have is only 210 pounds, and they decide to gamble and go for it. This is a gutsy call right here.
It's a long yard. 3rd and 1. The ball just inside the 10. Calgary Stampeders go gambling here. Flag is down. Jenkins carried.
Stopped by 39, Dave Albright.
Boy, what a good matchup that was. 39, Dave Albright, the middle linebacker. He's the guy that has to make the play. He met Keevan Jenkins right at the top. But we'll see what the penalty is.
Offside, Saskatchewan line, first down.
He nailed everybody. Got them all. Jurison, Lewis, Klingbeil, and Goldsmith.
They may have a good look at this, though. Dave Albright up over the top. Look at the hit right there. I mean, that is great defense. Good ground level shot, too.
First down, Calgary, and the 4.5.
So just inside the 5, the Stampeders with a chance here to open up a little wider margin. They lead by 4 at this stage of things. 1st and goal to go. Barrett Fired for Jenkins. And there was pressure from behind from Bobby Jurison.
Oh, wait. Danny Barrett liked to have that one over again. Great pattern. Trips 3 receivers to the wide side of the field. They all run slants back to the inside. And Keevan Jenkins just goes out to the flat. He had him wide open, but couldn't hit him.
2nd and goal to go. Stampeders at the Saskatchewan 4. Nobody touched Danny Barrett for the 2nd Stampeder touchdown. He's had a good season running the ball. It's his 4th touchdown rushing.
Oh, that's a great call. You know, I had a feeling they might come with this because that on the goal line, he doesn't need much of a seam to get through. There you see Vince Goldsmith. He can't react to it. And Danny Barrett, as John Wells told you, comes up with his 4th touchdown of 1990 and only his 2nd game as the starting QB. That's not bad, is it?
Not bad at all. So Barrett adds to the Calgary Stampeder lead at Taylor Field in Regina. Already, Calgary out in front, 17-6. 2:47 left till halftime.
Name was just
An offside penalty against the Roughriders doesn't show up in those numbers, but it was a key part of the Calgary drive that resulted in the 5-yard rush by Danny Barrett. You know, guys, Jeff Currier, the broadcaster for the Roughriders, was telling me that they really look for the defensive line to set the tone for this team. And as you look at Danny Barrett, they've been backed up in their own end of the field for a good part of the 2nd quarter. They've made some good plays, but Calgary's been able to put some points on the board nonetheless.
Well, kickoff returns have set the Stampeders up.
I sure have. Keevan Jenkins with a 56-yarder got 3 points on the field goal, and now Ronnie Hopkins with his 48-yarder set up the touchdown run by Danny Barrett. That's the way you do it.
On the return for Saskatchewan, Jeff Treflin starts up. Out near the 30, so good special teams coverage by the Stampeders once more. Spallettini leading the tacklers that time. That was Tony Spallettini.
I think Tony Spallettini is going to be on the Make Leaf Laugh segment next week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I guess they're lining up to get on this portion of the show, are they, Leaf?
Well, I don't know about that, but they seem to have fun with it.
1st and 10. Saskatchewan at the 29. Don Narcisse can't hang on.
Looked like the ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage. Ken Austin let it go. Let's see if it was, in fact, tipped.
Just a reminder, the Rams 50-50.
Just a little off target for Don Narcisse. That would have been a tough catch.
Ken Moore, the injured Saskatchewan Roughriders. Chris Giaskis will be his replacement.
Former tight end when he first came up with the Saskatchewan Roughriders was Ken Moore. Another tight end that was converted to his offensive tackle, if you recall, was
Bob Richardson.
Bob Richardson was one. There was one more that...
You never played tackle, did you? No.
No, not me, no. Laurie Skullroot.
Laurie Skullroot.
Yeah. They've had great success.
All played in Saskatchewan at one time or another.
Bob Richardson played in Hamilton, so did Laurie Skullroot.
2nd and 10, Roughriders at the 29. Austin swings it out of the backfield for McRae. He'll be stopped short of the 1st down. Kent Warnock over to make the stop. He's had a pretty good game already. He's been mentioned frequently.
Well, it's a good play by Ken Austin. They don't pick up the 1st down, but this is what he has to do, and dump it off to Timmy McRae when the defense is sitting back that far, and hope that he can run for the necessary yardage. He came up a couple short there, but nevertheless, it was a good call. The fans may not like it, but that's the best way to go.
On 3rd and 4, Mike Lazecki is in. Across the 25 to get this kick away. Taken on the run by Derek Crawford. And Milson Jones made the stop. That was only a 14-yard punt.
It's a busy day in the sports world, and we'll get you caught up on some of the day's news at halftime from Taylor Field. It's also the year of the kickers, and we've seen a lot of them. And we'll have first half highlights with Lee Pedersen. All that coming up in the halftime intermission.
Another good play on special teams for the Wild. I mean, bad punt, but good field position by the special teams for the Stampeders.
From the 41, Barrett in some difficulty, got away, and couldn't make the completion. Larry Hogue on Brock Smith, but they may bring this one back anyway, or at least a holding infraction against Calgary.
Holding, Calgary number 59, first down repeated.
59 is Leo Blanchard. He is playing in his first regular season game for the Stampeders. Had an elbow problem. And Brian Hutchings filled in. Hutchings did such a good job that he got a job on the other side when Blanchard came back. First and 20. All kinds of motion down there. Barrett will get charged with procedure. Marshall Toner might have gotten an early start as well. This is good defense, Lee.
It's the best way to play defense. They haven't had to do anything, and they got him back 15 already.
Illegal procedure, Calgary number 8, first down repeated.
And now when we total it up, it is first down and 25 to go. Stampeders back across midfield at the Calgary 54. Made the tackle. A flag comes down. With a penalty going against Saskatchewan.
Unnecessary roughness, major foul. Saskatchewan number 79, first down.
79, Gary Lewis. Costly penalty. Now, he won't want to be watching the films tomorrow morning.
Well, not at that particular spot.
Calgary first down now at the Saskatchewan 35. Another chance for Barrett under some pressure. Now, I don't know who was the closest receiver. Evan Jenkins was sort of in the neighborhood.
Well, you really have to appreciate the play of Danny Barrett tonight. You know, he saw the screen was plugged up, no chance to complete that pass, and he just picked an open spot and put the ball into that area. He wasn't intending it to be completed. He just didn't want to take the sack, didn't want to throw an interception. He wanted to give himself a shot at second down and 10. And, well, you have to appreciate the intelligence of Danny Barrett in those situations.
A minute 51 till halftime. Barrett on second and 10, far side, and behind the intended receiver. Toner was in the area, number 76. 17-6, Calgary leading the way.
First really poor pass that Danny Barrett has thrown tonight. He had Toner open and just overthrew him.
Two-yard try here for Mark McLaughlin. 1 for 1 on the night. Make that 2 for 2. And make that a 20-6 advantage for the Calgary Stampeders.
Boy, he is in a nice groove, isn't he, Mark McLaughlin? Nice, smooth swing.
Follow through. Just like on the 8th.
Oh, we don't want to see you on the 8th, I'm telling you. It'd be a shank into the trees or the water. Golf's your best sport, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't have very many good ones. That's not a great one.
Good.
Well, you have fun anyway.
I do.
Sure.
Saskatchewan first down at the 35. Here's Nelson Jones. Out to the 41. Matt Finley made the stop on Jones that time. 20-6. Calgary leading Saskatchewan. Not quite what we expected in many ways. Not that the Stampeders haven't played well this season, but we thought the Roughriders would be in the end zone by halftime. Kent Austin stopped by Kent Warnock.
Got across the line of scrimmage by about a yard, so it won't go as a sack, but pretty good pursuit by number 93, Kent Warnock. All 6'7", 270 pounds of him in his 5th year. The Calgary Stampeders led the club with 14 sacks last year. Originally drafted by the Stampeders as the #1 pick in the '86 draft, but chose to sign as a free agent with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Could not make the club and came back to Calgary, and boy, they were happy to have him.
Mike Lazecki from back at his 27. David McCrory. And he stopped at the 31. Paul Bushy leading the Saskatchewan tacklers. .107 to go till halftime.
Not a woman driver, that's right.
Stampeders off to a great start this season, and here in the first half, they have controlled the football. And Saskatchewan has only 2 field goals to show for the first 30 minutes here tonight. Nice strike. Barrett out near the 50. Eddie Brown. Out of Iowa State in his first year is the Stampeders' leading receiver, number 89.
Well, that was a great throw by Danny Barrett. Post pattern, hit Eddie Brown right on the button.
57 seconds till the half. Barrett, Brock Smith, touchdown. And that is the first Stampeder touchdown through the air in 1990. '50-yarder.
Boy, this crowd is quiet in a hurry here at Taylor Field. Danny Barrett back-to-back hits, one to Eddie Brown, and now he stands tall in the pocket. Number 27, Glenn Suter, the middle safety, stumbled just long enough to allow Brock Smith to get in behind him in the 50-yard touchdown. 2 plays. What a drive that was, and the Stampeders full value for this lead at halftime. My, oh my, they are playing well.
McLaughlin adds to the total on the board right now. 27 for the Stampeders, 6 for the Roughriders. I'm a little surprised, Lee.
Brock Smith led the Calgary receivers last year with 47 receptions in his rookie year. In fact, he led all rookies in the entire Canadian Football League last year with those 47 catches. And here he picks up his first touchdown of 1990. And there you see the great speed for the Fresno State alumni as he catches his first touchdown. 3 catches for 66 yards tonight. Brock Smith only had 2 coming into this game, but he's a pretty explosive guy. Great speed, and boy, he comes from a school, Fresno State, known as a passing school. And boy, any receiver you get from that school, you figure that he's a good pass route runner and always has some great catches. There you see the drive. It took only 2 plays to travel 78
seconds.
Yards. Post Eddie Brown and a big long bomb to Brock Smith, and that's all she wrote.
Now with 49 seconds till the half. This is Jeff Breckman on the return. Out across the 40 that time and forced back. Temple Square.
Is Wicklum out there?
I know, you shouldn't say that.
No,
He's trying to live that down, I think, isn't he?
Well, I think he kind of liked the notoriety. And of course, we're talking about Dan Wicklum and his little fisticuffs with Mark Gastineau in the opening game of the season. Said he got a clip on CNN nationally in the United States. He said he's better known for the fight than anything he ever did play.
Good special teams player.
That's for you, Allison, and I'm not done yet. Rub the baby for me.
They get a lot of free messages, don't they?
They do, don't they? He's a nice guy, Danny Barrett. Glad to see him doing well.
Ken Austin, the shotgun. Jones couldn't hang on.
Funny, Danny Barrett couldn't hang on. What do you think of that?
Well,
no comment?
He's getting it done for Calgary.
Yes.
And he did so last year without much flash. You know, he led the Stampeders to a pretty good season.
Stampeder offensive MVP in 1989. Kind of says it all.
Second and 10. Out to the 50, Milson Jones. 33 seconds till the half.
I'm sure the Roughriders were slightly frustrated by their performance in the first half, and the Calgary defense has really been the old proverbial bend but not break with that zone defense.
Stampeders have called a timeout with less than a half a minute to go.
That's a good move. You know, the 33 seconds on the clock. Saskatchewan could have run it down, but calling the timeout stops the clock, and they have a chance to get the ball back. Well, you see Milson Jones, and you might see what caused the little skirmish at the end of that play.
3rd and 1 as the Roughriders go gambling for it. Milson Jones. It depends where they spot the ball, I think.
I mean, that was a great run by Milson Jones to get that far, but an equally great hit by, I believe, Junior Thurman, and I'm not sure he came up with the first down.
I don't think he did.
Wow, what a hit. It's a great move to get to the outside. I mean, I didn't think he was going to get this far, but Junior Thurman, he's a little guy, only 5'8", 170, but he takes the 6'1", 225-pounder, puts him to the turf and keeps him short of the first down. Junior Thurman played every position in the secondary last year. Corner, halfback, and safety. He's been a nice find for the Stampeders. Second year from the University of Southern California.
So with 28 seconds to go till halftime, the Stampeders get another shot at moving in to field goal range behind Marshall Toner. Rasevich covering. Still 25 seconds till the half. Stampeders full value for a 27-6 advantage right now.
Well, I would think Wally's a pretty happy head coach at this point in time. He won't smile because it's only halftime. We've got a lot of football out there at Taylor Field, but he has to be happy with the way his club has performed on both sides of the football.
Andy McVeigh, and the draw goes nowhere. Chuck Klingbeil making the tackle on McVeigh that time. Stampeders well out of field goal range, about midfield. Chuck Klingbeil was a two-time All-Star high school hockey player at Hancock High School.
Hockey?
Said he was a better hockey player than a football player in high school.
6'1", 260. What was he, the goalie or what?
Must have been a bashing forward.
I know one thing. He's a strong guy. He can bench press over 600 pounds. And for those of you who don't know what the bench press is, it's lying on your back and pushing the bar up from your chest, and that's a lot of weight.
Don't let it bounce. Don't let it bounce. Don't let it bounce.
Albert Brown on the return, and there is nowhere to go. 12 seconds left for the Saskatchewan Roughriders till halftime.
Down by 56, Doug Davies.
A disappointing first half for Saskatchewan fans, no doubt about it.
20-yard line.
First and 10, Roughriders at the 20. And not many options for Kent Austin right here. McCray has a couple. That was Walter Ballard in on the tackle, and Roughrider fans did not appreciate the celebration after McCray was stopped. Total yards does not tell the entire story of this first half. Special teamwork by the Calgary Stampeders has really made a big difference. And John Gregory has a little work to do at halftime. Calgary Stampeders out in front of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who are home at Taylor Field. At halftime, it is 27-6.
A very quiet Taylor Field at the half. The visiting Calgary Stampeders with a 27-6 lead over the Roughriders, and full value for it as well. It's been a year with lots of passing and lots of rushing, and we sometimes forget that the name of the game is football. We want to emphasize the foot in this little feature now about the kickers.
Football fanatics found field goals flourishing in week 2. Tops on the kick parade, Saskatchewan's Dave Ridgway with 6 against Calgary. And Ottawa's Dean Dorsey, who had 6 against Hamilton. In second, a sidewinder, Mark McLaughlin, who struck for 5. A foot phenomenon, to be sure, but one that can be explained.
I think the ability of the quarterbacks shows, for one thing, that they're not throwing away the ball, you know, when kickers are in scoring range. It's the ability for the kickers then to have the chances, you know, whereas here in Hamilton we've thrown some interceptions when we've been in scoring range, unfortunately, and that's really where you get most of your field goal attempts, and I think the defenses are tightening up at the right time.
The coaches better take a look at themselves. Maybe we're getting all too predictable down close to the goal line, and the defensive coaches are doing a good job of defending against what our predictability is. Maybe we better start just reevaluating what we're doing close in and make sure that we're not predictable, and see if we can't get the ball in for a major.
Kickers, a very important part of the game, and Louis Passaglia goes for an all-time CFL scoring record later today in Vancouver, where the Lions are playing host to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The current mark held by Dave Cutler. Passaglia, 17 points to break it. He might do it in that game. It's 27-6 at halftime here at Taylor Field in Regina. Lots more still ahead from TSN and our live coverage of the Canadian Football League this year. Stay with us. Lots more still ahead.
There have been happier half times at Taylor Field in Regina. The score reads Calgary 27, Saskatchewan 6. We're halfway through. Joining me now in the press box is Alan Ford, the general manager of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. We'll talk about the game a little later, but I want to talk about the success this football team enjoyed in the offseason after winning the Grey Cup. Souvenir sales were absolutely astronomical, were they not?
Right, John. We did over $1.5 million worth of souvenirs. Actually, from the Edmonton game until December 31st, we did $981,000 just out of our office here. So it was busy times. It really was. It was great.
And the Grey Cup made quite a trip around the province. How many people saw it and had their picture taken with it?
Well, we estimated there's about 33,000 pictures were taken with the Grey Cup, and about almost 200,000 people in the different groups were there to get their picture taken, so it was super.
There is terrific football enthusiasm in Saskatchewan, Al. The Roughriders are going to bid for the 1993 Grey Cup. Do you think you'd be able to support it in this province?
Well, I don't know. Harry says we need a dome, so we're going to work very hard. We're the only club in the Canadian Football League that has never hosted a Grey Cup. This is our 80th anniversary of the football club being here this year, and we're going to bid for the 93 Grey Cup and go after it like we do anything else as hard as we can, and if we get it, I think it'll be great for the league. We'll support it here.
All right, we'll look for a little more support from the Saskatchewan offense in particular in the second half.
You know, the longer you go without putting that ball in the end zone, we're down there again tonight early and didn't put it in, and we give Calgary a couple of touchdowns down here by lining up offside. I'm not so sure that we would have stopped them, but one time we had them third and they're going to kick a field goal and we lined up offside. So we just got to better discipline ourselves, and it's a long half. I mean, anything can happen in this league.
All right, and anything can happen here at Taylor Field. The Roughriders trailing the Calgary Stampeders. It is halftime in Regina.
27-6 Calgary at the half, and special teams and defense a big part of the Stampeders story in the first 30 minutes. Ronnie Hopkins a big part of both of those operations for the Stamps. Lee.
Oh, you're right, Peter. You know, the Calgary Stampeders, notorious, as long as I can remember them, at being great on special teams. Tonight, no exception. You know, great kickoff return by Key Van Jenkins, set up a field goal by Mark McLaughlin. 10-6 at that time, and then after a Saskatchewan field goal, Ronnie Hopkins gets the kickoff return. Now he's going to ramble for 48 yards and give his offense great field position from which to work with. You know, Ronnie Hopkins 7th on the all-time CFL kickoff return list. He's a great one at time and time, giving his offense a good spot to start with the football. A few plays later, Danny Baird, who's having himself a super year in 1990. On the quarterback draw, you watch the pursuit upfield by the right end, Vince Goldsmith, and Danny Barrett just skips around and 5 yards into the end zone, his 4th of the year, and at that time, Calgary up by a 17-6 margin. Late in the first half, Calgary once again working the 2-minute drill to hurry up offense. Quick post to Eddie Brown, and now Danny Barrett back in the steps up in the pocket, and he finds Brock Smith. Glenn Suter couldn't keep up with him, stumbled on the play. Brock Smith, who led all rookies in 1989 in the CFL with 47 catches, gets his first of the year, first of the night, and Calgary pretty much everything their own way. But Peter, as you and I know, there's a lot of offense left in the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and don't be surprised to see them come back in the second half.
A little wake-up call issued by the Riders at halftime. We'll see what they can do. It's Calgary 27, Saskatchewan 6. Second half kickoff next from Regina.
Back at Taylor Field, Regina, the second half is underway, and this is Albert Brown in the return for the Roughriders. Brown cut down near the 36-yard line by Ken Ford.
Couple of penalties, couple of turnovers. A key part of the first half statistics as you look at the numbers. Reflected total yards there, not very much difference, but again, the turnovers were key, and a couple of very costly penalties helped the Stampeders build a 21-point lead.
First down, Saskatchewan. Ken Austin going deep for Mark Guy, and he can't quite get it. Ended up with double coverage by the time it was over. Junior Thurman was there, number 2. And the safety, Greg Peterson.
Had an interesting chat with Jeff Fairholm, the injured Saskatchewan Roughrider, who was out with a hamstring injury. And we're talking at halftime, and we both agreed that for Saskatchewan to have success in the second half, they have to work the hook patterns and the underneath patterns against that zone. You know, James Ellingson, Ray Elgard work the hooks and try and get something in around that middle linebacker, Joe Clossy, and try and exploit him a little better. They haven't been able to do that, haven't really tried it, and hopefully they'll get on track in the second half with some of those kind of pass patterns.
Second and 10, Saskatchewan. Deep again, this time for Narcisse, and he makes the catch. What a great catch by Don Narcisse. He wins one battle against Hopkins here. A 47-yard strike.
Wow, what a catch by Don Narcisse down the sidelines. You know, usually they're not able to get in behind a corner against the zone, but with his great speed, he's able to do so. And good coverage by Ronnie Hopkins. You can't do it much better, but a little push at the end, and Narcisse comes up with a big play. Boy, do they need one.
Austin looks to the end zone on 1st and 10 from the 27. And Guy was the intended receiver.
Second and 10.
Well, that's the thing about the Riders, Wellesley. I mean, you cannot count these guys out. Here's the quarterback leading the league in passing coming into tonight's game. And, well, heck, they only trail by 21 with 2 quarters to play. So we are going to see, I'm sure, a lot more from Ken Austin and Don Narcisse tonight. But that's the big play that maybe they needed to get them back into this one.
Second and 10. Austin to the far side. Guy again, and you did not like the call. I can tell by the look on your face.
Now, wait a sec. I was shaking my head, but not about the call.
Oh.
Pretty stinky throw. I mean, that's the kind of one you roll out to your left. Ideally, you want to throw and plant on your left foot as you release the ball. He threw off his back foot, and anytime you do that, the ball sails on you, and it sailed right over the head of Mark Guy. No chance for him.
Dave Ridgway. And Ridgway gets the Roughriders 3 points closer. 27-9 now. Following tonight's game, the TSN Turning Points will be brought to you by Firestone. Roughriders score the first points of the third quarter, but they still have a long way to come back. Dave Ridgway has accounted for all of the Saskatchewan scoring so far, 3 field goals. And Ridgway hit the post on his first crack.
Not the best night that Ken Austin has enjoyed as a pro quarterback, but a lot of time left. And he's a good one.
This is Hopkins, ever dangerous, on the return for the Stampeders. Again, they get good field position out near the 50.
Ronnie Hopkins in his 8th year with the Stampeders from Murray State. Only 5'10", 180 pounds, but another 32-yard return by Ronnie Hopkins to go along with the 46-yarder in the first half. And boy, it's worth repeating time and time again. He gives that offense super field position with which to start their drive.
And Barrett begins this one at the 49. First catch for Alan Pitts. 13 yards for the first down out of Cal State Fullerton.
Tried his luck with the Rams in the National Football League in 1986 and in 1987. Could not catch up with them. Went to a free agent camp that the Stampeders held last May and caught the eye of head coach Wally Buono. He's a great size, 6'4", 200. Good target for Danny Barrett to find downfield.
From the Saskatchewan 49, Barrett for Kevan Jenkins. And he's near the 45. Gary Lewis, number 79, in on the tackle for Saskatchewan.
3 yards for Jenkins, second and 7.
Ronnie Hopkins likes playing at Taylor Field. Last year in their opening game at Taylor Field, he had a 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. So he has good memories from this park.
Second and 7, Barrett over the middle. Brock Smith, he has the first down. He's inside the 30, almost to the 25. Richie Hall made the stop. A 19-yard gain for Brock Smith.
Boy, is he ever quick when he catches the football. But notice once again, Danny Barrett completing the short passes and allowing his receivers time to run with the football and pick up extra yardage. You know, high percentage passes to complete, easy ones for the receivers to catch and quarterbacks to throw. It's a great style of offense, and it's working perfectly tonight. Now you look around the league and you look like at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, for example, with Murphy, Tuttle, Eric Streeter. I mean, great receiving cores. And you look at Calgary and you say, now wait a sec, who is Eddie Brown? Who is Alan Pitts? And who is Brock Smith and Marshall Toner? Well, you know, they're not a team with a lot of superstars, but boy, they are really getting the job done tonight. And I'm sure Wally Buono and John Huffnagel, who's discussing things with Danny Barrett, are very pleased with the progress of their offense at this point in time in 1990.
The delay is for an injured player, Richie Hall. He was in on that last tackle.
Well, see, we haven't talked much about the Ottawa game last night. I mean, you talk about entertainment for your dollar.
Wasn't
the fans at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa saw a pretty wild and woolly affair.
A lot of turnovers, and I guess football purists might be a little upset at that, but when they even out at the end of the game and the score is that close and the Roughriders came back to beat supposedly the best team in Canadian football, it was a pretty exciting evening.
Here's what happened Thursday night at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa. It's 9-0 Ottawa early in the first quarter. And this is Reggie Barnes doing his thing and doing it in very fine style, 74 yards. And they just dumped the ball out to him in the flat, and he just went right through that Eskimo defense. At this point, it's 9-0 in favor of Ottawa. Riders add to the lead a few minutes later. Damon Allen to Stephon Jones. They victimized the quarterback, Andre Francis, this time. Down the line, not bad coverage, but just at the last minute, Jones got the football. That was the first of two he got on the night. 16-0 on that play. And, of course, they went on to the big win by a score of 50-46 over Edmonton.
Back to the live action at Taylor Field where the Stampeders are 1st and 10 from the Roughriders 27. And another big game for Calgary. Alan Pitts, a 17-yard pickup inside the Saskatchewan 10. So Barrett continues to pick apart that Saskatchewan defense.
Well, let's give his offensive line some credit. He is getting some time to throw. On the short passes, I mean, he gets it away quickly, and he doesn't need a lot of time. But that time they gave him a great pocket to set up in and throw a good strike downfield to Alan Pitts, and they've got a nice drive going here.
1st and 10 on the 10. Barrett over the middle. McVay has the touchdown. Andy McVay.
Let's go now.
Oh, it's tough to be the Grey Cup champs. Everybody wants a piece of you, and Calgary showing no mercy here tonight as their offense is really in full gear. Andy McVay, little circle pass over the middle, easy pass to complete once again for Danny Barrett. McVay makes the catch and a pretty easy trip into the end zone for him, and they are hitting on all cylinders. Make no mistake about that.
Mark McLaughlin adds the extra point. The scoreboard reads 34-9. Calgary ahead of Saskatchewan.
Pretty impressive drive by the Calgary Stampeders. Much more of a traditional sort of offense than the big plays. But 2.5 minutes, they marched 61 yards in 5 plays and ended with a 10-yard pass to Andy McVay. You like what you see of the Stampeders, you can watch them again next Friday night from their home park, McMahon Stadium in Calgary. The Hamilton Ticats will be the visitors. We'll start with the CFL report at 9 Eastern, followed by the game itself at 9:30. 7:30 in Calgary.
Elsewhere in the CFL tonight, BC in front of Winnipeg 7-0 now into the second quarter. And here it is a big advantage for the Calgary Stampeders on the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
You know, they scored 34 points tonight, and 17 of those directly related to the good kickoff returns. 2 by Hopkins, 1 by Jenkins. Richie Hall, Ivan Gutfried, the trainer, giving him some attention on the sidelines. Richie, big heart, small body. Only 5'6", 170 pounds.
It's early in the third quarter, but the Stampeders have already added another touchdown to the total. Mark Guy on the return as Saskatchewan shakes up its special team assignments down there, hoping to break somebody free. Still not great field position compared to what the Stampeders have been receiving so far tonight.
Well, we talk about Stampeders on the kickoff returns. They're doing an excellent job as well, covering their own kickoffs and not giving Kent Austin great field position to start his drive.
Flags are down. Austin down the sidelines and off target for Mark Guy. And I would think that indication would have to be holding against Saskatchewan. There we go.
It's like flogging a dead horse. I mean, they got the one long bomb to Narcisse, but you just can't go over the top of this zone. They play an excellent zone defense, and you either have to throw hooks or ins or underneath patterns. You just can't continually try and hit the ball.
Holding. Saskatchewan number 44 declined. Second down.
Not Roger.
I don't believe they could have caught Roger.
The 2-time Shenley winner.
Well, every once in a while, everyone on that line
Oh, yeah, you can see
takes a little hold of someone, right?
You got Mitchell Price.
Austin in trouble again. Far side, short of the first down. James Ellingson.
The Duke. The Duke caught 8 passes in the big Grey Cup victory last year. Pretty nice afternoon for him. Originally from the Richmond Junior Raiders in his second year. 5th year, rather. The Riders. Second-round pick back in 1986. Filling in, of course, for Jeff Fairholm, who I understand will be ready to play next week. It was very close this week, but they decided not to take a chance and give him one more week to get that hamstring 100%.
Mike Lozecki's punt average has not helped the Rough Rider cause either. Eddie Brown on the return. Out across the Stampeder 30 to the 32, and Elgard had a hold of him there.
Danny Barrett, great night for him. 13 to 21, 197 yards. Has thrown his first 2 touchdown passes of 1990.
And the first 2 touchdown passes for the Stampeders so far this season. Terrence Jones started in one last week and didn't fire a touchdown pass.
Well, he completed 21 passes last week and didn't get a touchdown, but he ran for 2, so that was a big thing.
Andy McVeigh, as the Stampeder running game continues to click along.
Tackling by Tuanel Alapate.
Tuanel Alapate made the stop that time. 9:23 to go, third quarter.
Say that one 5 times fast.
We won't. He's listed as a backup, which is just fine with me for now. Second and 4. The Stampeders at the 37. Flag down. Barrett over the middle. And that's Eddie Brown.
Flag on the play, pass to Eddie Brown.
Well, they may bring this one back, but I'll tell you, Eddie Brown ran a great pattern. That they told us that was his weakness. They will not bring it back. Offside against Saskatchewan, as Dave Ewell will tell us. But that was a great in-pattern, good throw, and a nice catch.
Offside, Saskatchewan, decline, first down.
Let's talk about the offensive line of the Stampeders. You're talking a veteran group here. How about Kevin Powell, left tackle, 12 years. Leo Blanchard beside him, 12 years. Lloyd Fairbanks, the right tackle, 16 years in the league, 10 with the Stampeders. I mean, that's a pretty nice security blanket in front of Danny Barrett.
Marshall Toner. Little pick play there.
You got it.
Flag is down.
Wellesley, you are sharp tonight. That holiday at Lake of the Woods must have sharpened the eyes up here. And they caught them. Alan Pitts, number 18, came in picked. Toner went to the outside, and Dave Ewell and his crew were sharp enough to catch it, and they will bring the Stampeders back.
Can't see the injured
Forward
player.
pass interference. Calgary number 18. First down repeated.
Keevan Jenkins shaken up.
They, of course, are a little thin at the running back spot with Tim Petros as well out of the lineup.
Watch for entries in the Canada Post Player of the Week awards arriving in your mail.
The other Spolatini will likely come in here. Tony.
Provide you with priority post, the official courier.
Another University of Calgary graduate in his 4th CFL season, 2nd year with the Stampeders. Keevan Jenkins has not been around the Canadian Football League for a year or 2.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Was he not up in Alaska doing something?
I think I read that it was 1986 that was the last time he played. And I don't know about the Alaskan League.
I don't know where I got that. Something just popped into my head that he's been in Alaska.
Following the penalty, 10 yards.
Obviously, he figured his prospects were a little better, a little farther south.
A little warmer anyway.
First and 20 facing Danny Barrett and the Stampeders here. Barrett goes long, and he's got a touchdown. That's Alan Pitts. Touchdown, Alan. 67 yards, Danny Barrett. And that's 3 passing touchdowns tonight for Calgary.
Danny Barrett saw the blitz coming. A great opportunity with one-on-one. A bad matchup for the Riders. Jeff Treflin, who is in the game in a backup capacity, cannot stay with number 18, Alan Pitts, and he has a pretty easy touchdown. And boy, oh boy, Calgary has made it look easy on offense tonight. 67-yard bomb. You cannot do it any better. I must admit, I'm a little surprised. I thought we were going to have a close game and Calgary should be in it, but I didn't think they'd be running away with it at this point.
Hello, thank you.
Now, 41-9. First CFL touchdown for Alan Pitts. Calgary completely in control at Taylor Field tonight.
Well, once again, the Stampeders strike quickly, 79 yards in 3 plays, and it took less than a minute and a half to get the job done to Alan Pitts. I don't know if anybody other than Normie Kwong, when he was playing, can remember the last time a Calgary team was in first place in a division after 3 games. But if this prevails, obviously Calgary will be.
It would be the first time since 1971. Ironically, that was a Stampeder Grey Cup year. And that was the last Stampeder Grey Cup year. With a win tonight, the Calgary Stampeders will be in top spot in the CFL West. Smart guy on the return for Saskatchewan, out near the 40. Dan Wicklum leading the Calgary tacklers.
Really the impressive thing about Calgary tonight, John Hufnagel said we have to be aware and pick up the blitz tonight to be successful. They really have. On the occasions that Saskatchewan has blitzed, they have really been burnt. In that time, the safety blitz coming on a 1st and 20. Danny Barrett's offensive line and backs give him all time to throw, and he gets the touchdown. I mean, you cannot draw it up any better on the blackboard.
Into heavy traffic over the middle. Ellingson was the intended receiver of Kent Austin.
Well, they play that zone, and the linebackers in the middle, Joe Clausey and Kenny Ford on the outside, just squeeze that lane down, and they're there to meet James Ellingson. No room for him to catch the football. And you talk about good defense. They put a clinic on tonight on how to play the zone. Kent Austin, pretty frustrated, I would think, at this point.
7:49 to go, 3rd quarter. Austin sidelines picked off. It's Hopkins who wins that battle between Mr. Hopkins and Mr. Narcisse. Second interception of the season.
Well, we've blown a lot of smoke for Ronnie Hopkins tonight, and he doesn't disappoint us as he makes a super play on Don Narcisse. Reads the pattern, breaks on the football, and makes the interception, keeps his feet in bounds, and, well, enjoy it, guys. It happens every so often. The defense clicks, the offense clicks, and it's kind of fun to play football on a night like tonight if you're a Stampeder.
1st and 10, Stampeders now at the Saskatchewan 51. Barrett goes to work quickly. That's Brock Smith.
Well, so you know, you take all this with a grain of salt. I mean, they're having a great night tonight, but next week, of course, could be another week.
Next week, it's the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Boy, they've got a big one with the Argos coming in Saturday night at Iverwood. Toronto, the heat is on, I think, a little bit in Toronto. Donnie Matthews with the hurry-up offense. Jeff Bentram,
the most popular football player in Saskatchewan right now, the backup quarterback.
Has been for years.
Another big play for the Calgary Stampeders as they go to Crawford this time.
First down on the Saskatchewan 12.
Well, Danny Barrett's having a great night tonight. Everything's going his way. Quick rollout. No pressure up front from the Saskatchewan front 4. He lays it up in behind Stacey Hairston, and Derek Crawford makes a nice catch, 35 yards. And once again, Calgary knocking at the door, trying to score some more.
This time from the Saskatchewan 13 with a 1st down. Andy McVeigh gets almost to the 5. Alapate made the tackle.
John, I don't want to jinx them, but I got to check with statistician Bobby Layton. Have they committed a turnover tonight? No. That's one of the reasons why they're playing so well. Air-free football will do that for you. There's Bob Swift. Remember him? Big fullback years ago with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, then became an offensive guard. He's the offensive line coach for Wally Buono.
He has been affiliated with every club in the Canadian Football League except one, Bob Swift.
And happy to have done so.
Barrett intended that for Pitts. The only team he has missed.
The tie-me-up Cats.
That's right. Started off as a fullback, ended up along the line.
There he is.
Good job, guys. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Stampeders will be content with a field goal. And they get 3 more for the total. It is a big lead for the Calgary Stampeders on the defending Grey Cup champions Saskatchewan Roughriders. Partway through the third, 44-9.
Lots of baseball coming up on the Sports Network. The Texas Rangers and the Toronto Blue Jays on Saturday at 1:30 Eastern Time. The Jays beat the Rangers tonight by a score of 1-0. And we've got Expos baseball coming up for you as well. The Mets and Montreal on Tuesday evening at 7:30 Eastern Time from Olympic Stadium.
Is the hook coming out for Kent Austin here at Taylor Field? We saw Jeff Bentram warming up.
I think the hook has been made. And
there it is. The hat is on.
The hat is
on.
The
hook is out.
The chin strap is done up, and Austin is out. He had a tough night. 9 for 25, 133 yards. Not the way it was in the Grey Cup of 1989, where he had an unbelievable day. 26 of 41, 474 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And for all you Ken Austin fans out there, don't worry about him. It's a long season. He will be back. He's an excellent quarterback. Just had a bad night tonight.
Roughriders ready to return. This is Paul Bushy. And on a short kick, Bushy gets it out near the 46. The cheer for Jeff Bentram. Those numbers go back to 1987. It was the last time he played significantly in the CFL.
He played receiver for them last year, a little running back. But, you know, they cheered for Tom Burgess when he would come in the game last year. You're right. The favorite guy out here is always the backup quarterback, except when Ron Lancaster played.
That's true.
I don't think we can remember who the backup quarterback was.
There were a lot of them that just sort of drifted through town and left quickly in those days. Tim McRae. Second and 10 now with 4:49 to play, third quarter. The Stampeders putting it to the Roughriders so far tonight. 44-9, Calgary in the lead. This is Jeff Bentram, and it's picked off. Matt Finley on the return for Calgary. Another turnover. Finley could score. He has a little blocking and enough speed to get in ahead of Milson Jones. So Jeff Bentram has his first pass, run back 56 yards for the touchdown.
No question, Matt Finley off to his best start in his 5-year pro career. 4 of them spent with the Calgary Stampeders. Steps in front, makes the interception, his first of the season. And how about that? Turns into a running back, makes a couple of moves, and gets himself into the end zone for the touchdown. Ball badly thrown by Bentram over top of the receiver, Milson Jones. And Matt Finley makes a catch. Originally with the Montreal Alouettes, went in the dispersal draft to the Toronto Argonauts, and then traded to the Calgary Stampeders, and happy to be here. Eastern Michigan University was his school.
4 turnovers for the Roughriders so far tonight. Stampeders have not turned it over a single time so far.
Please put 2 seconds on the 20-second clock. 2 seconds.
I don't think that's going to make a difference in this game.
Not at this stage of things, Leaf. Not at this stage.
Dave has to keep the house in order here, so that's
absolutely.
all right. How about this tonight? It's going to be 51-9. Last night, Ottawa 50, Edmonton 46. I mean, this is...
Yeah, that was an upset. This, a mild upset, but a big surprise at the score that's up there right now.
Especially after Saskatchewan lost a game that they thought they maybe should have won last week in Calgary, or against the Calgary Stampeders.
That was in Calgary. This was Taylor Field, so that should be a couple of points for the hometown guys here.
Yeah, you would think that Saskatchewan would come out and really want to get back at them tonight, but they've been kind of flat, and Calgary's been as sky high as they're going to be all year, I would imagine.
Guys, you know, the Stampeders last year went 7-1 against the East Division and couldn't do much in the West. It looks like now they're going to have 5 of a possible 6 points against 3 West opponents to start this new season. So that's evidence of improvement as well.
Mark McLaughlin adds 1 more to the Calgary total. Read it now, folks. Stampeders 51, Roughriders 9. And there's a long way to go. 4:28, third quarter.
Gotta love these fans at Taylor Field, though. I mean, nobody has left, and nobody is leaving.
Some of the big numbers put up in Canadian football over the years. The record in '82, Hamilton and Calgary.
This game will not be in jeopardy tonight. You got to have both teams firing. And, unfortunately, the Riders have only got 9.
A linebacker turned into a running back when he intercepted that last pass. I guess all linebackers used to be running backs in high school.
Well, he turned into a great one on that interception return, and I think he got a dislocated finger for his efforts.
On the return for Saskatchewan, Mark Guy.
Taken by Mark Guy.
And he's out at the 39.
I've been in these games before, and I'll tell you one thing. From a Calgary standpoint, like, everybody wants to get out and play and have fun. If you're a Saskatchewan guy, like, you want the game to be over at the three-quarter mark and say, okay, concede, we'll start again next week.
Jeff Bentram in at quarterback for the Roughriders. He has Don Narcisse.
Bentram's pass.
Narcisse out at the 51.
First down.
And Ron Hopkins gave a little ground there, but not a great deal, did he?
Well, their idea right now, and there you get a good look at the secondary dropping out, the linebackers getting deep drops. They will allow this pass to be completed for the rest of the ball game. Their plan is don't let anybody get in behind you.
First down, Saskatchewan. Good fake by Bentram. Far side, jump ball. Guy was the intended receiver, and Junior Thurman was covering.
Long throw to try and complete, little play action and fake and throw the out to the wide side of the field. Terrence Jones is going to get some action, I would think, tonight. Had a great week last week. Ran for a couple of touchdowns, 21 of 42. In the guaranteed win situation, a lot of pressure on the young quarterback, and he did a fine job. Set all kinds of passing records at Tulane University.
Jeff Bentram now facing 2nd and 10 from the 51 for the Roughriders. Narcisse open and up near the 40. 18 for Don Narcisse.
Well, they know that Ronnie Hopkins is going to give Don Narcisse lots of room at this stage of the game. Now they're ahead 51-9, so he just goes down, stops at the 11-yard mark, turns around. Bentram gives him the football, and they pick up a nice first down.
Bentram goes for the home run. Too far. Guy, the intended receiver, but Junior Thurman had a better chance at coming up with the football.
Well, at this stage in the game, you have to know the corners are going to be playing so soft. And boy, if you complete a long bomb here at this stage, it's a fluke. Somebody's made a huge mistake. And I'm surprised Jeff Bentram doesn't realize this. He's got to throw the hooks and the outs and those kind of patterns to just drive the team down the field and try and get some kind of momentum going. I mean, we're still in the third quarter. Not that I will try and fool you folks at home by saying that Saskatchewan has a chance to come back. If they did, I think it would be the greatest comeback in the history of sports.
51-9 right now. Stampeders in front. Paul Bushy, a rookie running back, number 25, got the call that time.
A long night for John Gregory yesterday. I asked him his assessment of his club's performance after being 1-1 in 2 starts, and he said, well, we're really where we think we should be at this point. We lost a game in Calgary. We thought maybe we should win, and of course we had a good win over Hamilton. I think he expected a lot more from his club tonight, and I'm sure he's very disappointed.
Ridgway has accounted for all the Saskatchewan points so far tonight, all 9 of them. He missed that one. So even Ridgway is off target a little bit tonight. Earlier he hit the post. 44-yard field goal try. Goes wide, but it does get the Roughriders at least into double figures. Enter Terrence Jones for the Calgary Stampeders. Keevan Jenkins out near the 40.
Quarterback is number 9, Terrence Jones. The ball carrier is 23, Keevan Jenkins.
Terrence Jones in that big win last week. There you see his numbers passing in that game, as he's only played 1 game so far in 1990, but he also had 11 carries for 116 yards, and really that was the difference in the ball game.
2nd and 8.
Another fine player from Tulane. This is 2nd down and 8. Jones in trouble. Safety blitz. Suter got away. Had a shot at him, and he got away from Suter.
What a great effort that was by Terrence Jones to just get away from the rush and almost complete a pass that probably should have been caught by Keevan Jenkins. Glenn Suter on the safety blitz has him. Somehow Terrence Jones get away. Very similar to Tracy Ham last night, and how he was able to get away from Patrick Wayne at one time and complete a pass downfield. I couldn't believe it. Terrence Jones, probably the strongest arm in the league at this point. He has got a rifle.
Brett Matich is having a pretty good night. With a batting average over 44. This is Jeff Treflin with difficulties near the 25. Decent return considering the early problems for Treflin. 47-yard kick that time. With 1:15 to go, 3rd quarter, the visiting Stampeders comfortably in front of the hometown Roughriders. 51-10. Comfortable might be a little bit of an understatement.
I think they're home and cooled with a quarter to go.
Saskatchewan 1st and 10 from the 32. Jeff Bentram in its quarterback. Carries himself a lot of running for a couple of yards. David McCrary coming up from his halfback spot to make the stop.
Toughest play for an inside safety to have to make is when to decide when you leave the guy you're covering and come up and try and support and tackle a scrambling quarterback. And David McCrary is the injured ball player, but what a job he did. Left Ray Elgard and came up and made the hit on Bentram, and he only picked up about half a yard maybe.
Number 1. Still number 1. Riders number 1. Riders number 1. Still number 1.
If you don't
Still
think
number 1.
the Flame is overly enthusiastic right there, there's a reason for it. He's been grounded. There'll be no more Flame out the helmet this year for Sandy Monteith. An unfortunate accident last week, John.
A young 15-year-old Jeff Dolmage was burned rather severely as they were taking the Flame out of Taylor Field last week, and the Roughriders have decided that maybe it is just a little bit too dangerous to have the Flame exploding in Taylor Field. So the Flame has been extinguished for now.
Permanently. Well, he had a good run at it. He did it for about 7 or 8 years here. David McCrary, who made the great play coming up on the tackle on Jeff Bentram, is the injured Calgary Stampeder. And here you'll have a look at it. Sticks the helmet right through. Watch the neck get bent back.
Quarterback won that one. Quarterbacks don't often win collisions like that.
One for the QBs.
The quarterback didn't win very much, though. The quarterback got a yard.
The films tomorrow, Bentram will say, I just ran right over him.
Film time tomorrow will not be fun.
I think they may put the flame on this one.
Burn the tape. 39 seconds, third quarter.
Might be a good idea. Although I think the quarterbacks have really got to go and have a look at that film and just see the areas they should have tried to exploit and didn't try to.
Benson in trouble. He escaped. He will get a first down. Out to midfield. 23-yard gain for Jeff Bentram.
And very few things for the fans at Taylor Field to get excited about tonight, but this was one of them, is Jeff Bentram, who is an excellent running quarterback. Gets flushed out of the pocket by Mitchell Price, and then he takes off and turns into a running back and has a nice gain and is sensible enough not to take on those tacklers and get out of bounds without the hit.
From midfield, the Roughriders for the first down. This is Milson Jones, but there are flags down as Jones grabs at least 10. The game will stand.
Now, this is really the first offensive output that the Riders have had since Milson Jones got about 3 or 4 first downs in a row in the second quarter that led to one of Dave Ridgway's field goals. So, understandably, the fans have something to cheer about.
Unofficially, time has run out in the third quarter.
Offside, Calgary 79, decline. First down.
That was Walter Ballard with the infraction. Roughriders trail the Calgary Stampeders by a bunch. Heading to the fourth quarter, it is 51-10. Calgary in the lead. Ready now for the fourth quarter at Taylor Field in Regina. Calgary Stampeders well in front of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 51-10. This is Jeff Bentram, and Bentram has another first down along the ground. Bentram in at quarterback in relief of Kent Austin.
There's what the numbers look like after 3 quarters of play. And again, the net yards, you'd think the game should be closer than this, but turnovers and some critical penalties, not long ones, but at critical times, really hurt the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the first half, and it's been a mop-up operation since then, although Jeff Bentram has shown a few signs of life.
Bentram has a first down at the Calgary 30. There are flags everywhere. Bentram looks to the end zone. Guy wide open. Will it stand?
No.
Dave Ewell has the answer to that. Illegal procedure. John Gregory lost his hat.
Who was it? Who was it?
Illegal procedure. Who was it? Number 9. First down repeated.
Well, they call it against Mark Guy, who was in the end zone all by himself, so perhaps he did get a bit of a jump.
Well, I don't know if you could hear on our field mic, but the referee said he left early, coach. So he must have jumped the gun.
First and 15. Shorter pass this time. Don Narcisse far side. Not quite halfway to a first down. From first and 15, this is second and 8. From far side, Narcisse has the first down. After a bit of a shaky beginning, Jeff Bentram starting to move this Saskatchewan offense.
Well, for a quarterback, you won't have an easier time to run an offense. The defense playing so soft and giving up anything underneath, and pretty easy ball to complete to Don Narcisse. Ronnie Hopkins laying way back. Just keep the receivers in front of them.
Bedford look for Ellingson.
That is not a shot, what I'm saying, at Jeff Bentram by any stretch, but if you're going to play quarterback in this league, this is a pretty easy time to do it when you've got a soft defense in front of you. That time he rolls out and just cannot connect with James Ellingson. Well, good coverage right there, too. Number 7, Darrell Hall.
2nd and 10. Bentram looks for the home run pass. And he's out of bounds. Don Narcisse.
You know, I mean, if it weren't for bad luck, Saskatchewan wouldn't have any luck at all tonight. Jeff Bedford punches his hand. Don Narcisse ran an out and up on Hopkins. Hopkins bit on the out. He was all alone in the end zone, and he throws it over top and out of bounds. Tough night.
Jeff Bentram good on 4 of 9 for 47 yards, 1 interception. All 4 tosses have been to that man, Don Narcisse. Or at least all 4 completions. One more time and a flag goes down. Tim McCray. Joe Clausey covering on McCray.
Well, he got caught with one of these in the second quarter. Joe Clausey did.
Forward pass
blitz situation.
Calgary number 60, first down.
Yeah, what the heck, Joe? Says he's going to catch it anyway. I might as well grab him down, see if we can hold him at the 1-yard line. Timmy McCray, no doubt, would have made that catch for the touchdown as Clausey gets his second interception. Tough night for him in a way. He doesn't really know how to play pass defense yet, and hopefully in the next 2 games he's going to improve on that.
Roughriders with a chance for their first touchdown, and they get it. Bentram took it himself. Easy one in from the 1.
Surge up front, Mike Anderson. He goes behind the perennial all-star, number 44, Roger Aldag. He gets into the end zone. I guess reason for some excitement here at Taylor Field. Their first touchdown of the night.
How about a 2-point conversion here?
I think they'll go for it. See, now this is a great tell for armchair quarterbacks. Next week they'll be screaming for Bentram to start.
Well, what are they yelling for right now? With a 2-point, Bentram. And on target for Elgard. Elgard has not been a big factor here tonight so far. Zeros for Elgard. The Roughriders trailing the Calgary Stampeders. It is 51-16 in the 4th.
77 yards and 7 plays, almost 4 minutes, and the best drive the Riders have had in this game. Jeff Bentram finished it off nicely, but they couldn't make the convert. 51-16 the score. And here's a little piece of trivia for you. Other than the starting quarterbacks, Austin and Kerrigan in the Grey Cup last year, only one player threw a pass. It was Ray Elgard, and he didn't have a whole lot of luck.
Talked to Ray before the game. He said that one is out of the playbook where he throws the ball. 12:27 to go. Long night for fans at Taylor Field in Regina. They were expecting a little bit more from the Grey Cup champs.
Oh, you look back at this game and how it developed. You know, 27-6 at halftime, and Danny Barrett comes out in the third quarter and goes 8 for 9, throws 1 touchdown pass, and really that third quarter, his performance, I think, turned this game completely into Calgary favor.
Ronnie Hopkins on the return for Calgary. He has been great tonight, but the Roughriders get him this time. Down near the 25. Stopped by Wayne Drinkwalder. 10 yards for Hopkins.
Boy, that's going to hurt his average.
He might be getting tired, though.
done a lot of running.
Roughriders, 77 weight rate.
He and Narcisse have run a few 40-yard sprints tonight, plus the couple of long kickoff returns.
Check your lucky program number here. The celebration transfer of leader touchdown number is 23.
51-16, Calgary leading. Stampeder win tonight means Calgary's in top spot. Terrence Jones into the dirt that time. Eddie Brown was the intended receiver. Calgary from the Stampeder 27. Jones. Alan Pitts. And that's a first down at the 43. 16-yard gain.
So that really is the test of a quarterback's arm strength when he's rolling one way and throws back against the grain. And he threw a perfect strike to Alan Pitts there. Pitts having a good night tonight. Big touchdown catch in the third quarter, 4 receptions for him for 113 yards. Alan Pitts, nice night.
Andy McVeigh, Eddie Lowe got him right at the line. Halftime on the West Coast. The Lions in front of the Blue Bombers by 4, 7-3. The Lions hang on and win that one. Wally Buono could wake up tomorrow morning as the only unbeaten coach in Canadian football. That's Brock Smith.
Stampeders really are doing things well on offense tonight. Brock Smith catches a little quick out. His buddy, the wide receiver, Eddie Brown's on a hook. He just peels back, blocks Larry Hogue, allows Smith to get the extra yardage. They're having fun tonight. I mean, you score 51 points, you're going to have fun. The numbers for Smith, big touchdown catch late in the second quarter.
Another Calgary first down. Jones in trouble, and he's down. Vince Goldsmith got through. Number 70 for Saskatchewan, 123 career sacks. Handing that one in.
Third on the all-time list behind James Quick Parker and Grover Covington. We'll see Grover in Calgary next week.
Second and 15, Saskatchewan or Calgary. Stampeder 50. Jones in trouble again. Can he get away? Brock Smith was the intended receiver. Wasn't on target, but he threw it a long way.
Well, he's got a great arm. There's no disputing that fact. And if they bring him along nice, patiently, I think he's going to have a great career in this league. He showed flashes last week. And Danny Barrett certainly showed tonight that he deserves to be the starting quarterback with the Stampeders with his performance.
On third down, Brent Mandich left puts it high. Albert Brown on the return for Saskatchewan.
Albert Brown.
Stopped by the second man down after a return of maybe 2. It's been that kind of a night for the Saskatchewan Roughriders at Taylor Field. Wally Buono and the Calgary Stampeders have a very comfortable fourth quarter lead.
Tour packages include your return from motor coach transportation.
One of the best women's tennis draws in the world coming to Jerry Tennis Stadium in Montreal beginning Monday. It's the Players Limited Challenge. They've got 7 of the top 10 female players in the world. We'll have 2 draws a day live on TSN. We begin at 1:30 Eastern, Monday afternoon, live from Jerry Tennis Stadium in Montreal.
Bring your tickets.
Well, Mother said there would be nights like this to all men who wanted to be football coaches. The glory of last November to a long night at Taylor Field for John Gregory here.
Well, I don't think John Gregory had any illusions that it would be easy repeating as the Grey Cup champions. And so far this year, he will find himself under 500 after 3 games, but they will regroup. They're a good team.
Jeff Bentram has done an excellent job running the ball since he came in. 17 yards that time. 51-16. Stampeders out in front.
One of those quarterbacks that likes to run the football. I mean, a lot of guys like to stand back and throw and get all the yardage that way, but Bentram, he's a tough guy. He likes to tuck it under and do all the damage himself.
This is Tim McRae for another Saskatchewan first down. There are flags in a couple of locations.
The toughest thing for the Stampeders at this point is just to keep the enthusiasm and the intensity level up. I mean, they know they have the game in hand. It's
holding Saskatchewan number 62. First down repeated.
You know, I'm sure Wally Buono and all the coaches are up and down the sideline saying, come on, guys, stay in, and it's not over, it's not over. But, you know, I don't think they have their heart quite in it at this point. But they played a great football game tonight. Nice way to start off your head coaching career.
Following the penalties, first and 10. Ball on the 25.
This is first and 20. Facing the Roughriders from the 25. Benson will throw. Guy can't hang on.
I hear footsteps.
But there's no one there.
Footsteps.
Stephen Eady did that, I think, didn't they?
Oh, he should have had this one. Have a look, Wellesley. Can't throw it any better than that. The head was turned watching Junior coming for the ear hole.
8:09 to go. Second and 20 facing Saskatchewan. Roughriders at the 25. Jeff Benson will try and get 20 himself. He gets only halfway there. Now, does he have instructions out there to run the football, Leaf, or is he just showing some inexperience as a quarterback?
Well, Calgary's doing a great job in pass defense. They're dropping everybody so deep that he just says, heck with it. I'm going to try and run for it myself. Not a whole lot you can do when it's 51-16. Calgary deep in the zone.
Eddie Brown brought down by Paul Bushy.
Down by Paul Bushy on the spot. Will be Calgary starting first and 10. At the 47-yard line.
7:31 to go in the final quarter. A long night for the Roughriders at Taylor Field. Calgary first down with a big lead. There's a collision in the backfield. They whistled it dead, and it might have been a little early. What do you think? Woo.
Yeah, more than a little early.
77, Wayne Drinkwater.
Yeah, they overruled. Dave Ewell overruled the official there. Made the correct call. It was a fumble. Drinkwater made the recovery. Miscommunication. Terrence Jones and Keevan Jenkins. Jones cannot recover his own fumble, and Wayne Drinkwater comes up with the recovery.
Play whistle down. Roughriders' next outing is in BC next Thursday.
Offside, Calgary 75. First down repeat.
Stu Laird, number 75, so it'll be first and 5, Saskatchewan. 6:57 to go in quarter number 4. McRae, maybe 4 yards. will be second down and 1 to go for the Roughriders. Benson looks to throw. McRae, and that is an easy first down near the 20. Might as well go for something like that on 2nd and 1 at this stage of the evening.
Well, that was well executed. A little play action, 2nd and 1. I agree with you. Get that thing in the air downfield. Timmy McRae is a good guy to throw to.
First down.
Saskatchewan now at the Calgary 19 with the first down. Jeff Bentry has a strike short of the first down. McRae.
Gain of 5 on the pass. 2nd and 5. Ball's at the 14.
That'll turn to 2nd and 4 now. Inside the 15 at the 14. Benson has to get out of there. He's down. Kent Warnock gets credit for another sack. He's off to a good start, Leith. Again.
He is off to a great start. I think that's his first sack tonight. 4 on the year for the Warrior.
Loss of 15 on the play.
Does a nice job showing some quickness to get to the outside and get a hand on Jeff Bentry.
Third down and 17. It looked like the Roughriders might be marching in for a touchdown, but they are in big trouble here. Flags are down, and Bentry comes up short at the 15.
All carries the quarterback, Jeff Bentry. Penalty marker.
Stopped by Junior Thurman.
That's the easiest decision Wally's had to make tonight.
Holding. Saskatchewan 68. Decline. First down.
Well, I think Jeff Bentry has tried to do too much himself here.
Calgary takes
the fact that he had some early success running the ball.
I don't think there was a great deal he was going to be able to do in this game to get them back into it, too. By the time he came in, things totally out of hand in favor of the Stampeders.
Terrence Jones.
All carries the quarterback, Terrence Jones. Brought down by Wayne Brentwalder.
We're looking up some earth-shattering information
I'm
here.
trying to find something of a statistical note.
Aha. Well, we will wait anxiously to see if you can come up with something here.
A lot of numbers here. All right, 3:50 on the clock. 51 for Calgary on the scoreboard. And good coverage by Richie Hall, who's back in. Dave Sapungis couldn't make the catch.
He was with the Vanier Cup Western Mustangs last year. Calgary drafting him. Getting a chance, as some of the other backups are, to play tonight, as Calgary well in front and in hand in this game. And good idea for Wally Buono to have a look at some of his new people. You didn't find what you were looking for?
No, I couldn't come up with that little bit of information.
Give us a clue what it was?
Closing in on the final 3 minutes. Fourth quarter. Big charge on Matic. He gets it away. Jeff Treflin on the return for the Roughriders. And that's the kind of night it's been for Saskatchewan. Treflin falls down near the 48. Calgary in front, 51-16. And the 3-minute whistle has gone at Taylor Field. Well, the game of the week, a little less than we expected in some ways, Leif. I just figured that Saskatchewan would come out with an explosive offensive attack against the Calgary Stampeders here tonight after losing last week.
Well, I did too. You know, I mean, how do you look at this thing? Is Calgary that good? And is Regina that bad? Or is this just one of those things that we'll say, hey, they played great tonight. We'll see what happens next week.
I think the Calgary Stampeders had a few more question marks coming into the game than did the defending Grey Cup champions. A couple of new receivers. Keevan Jenkins, whether or not he could return to form as a running back. That's on offense. Defensively, Calgary a pretty set unit.
Yeah, the only newcomer really in the defensive unit is Joe Clausey, the middle linebacker. And, you know, in time, hopefully he will get better in his pass coverage. Tonight had a bit of a rough night with those 2 interference calls. But, you know, I think you look offensively, Danny Barrett will always be second guessed. I mean, when there's quarterbacks around the league like Matt Dunnigan, Tracy Ham, Doug Flutie, Tommy Burgess in Winnipeg, I mean, you're always going to second guess a Barrett because he's not in that upper echelon of quarterbacks. But boy, oh boy, did he play a whale of a game tonight, and you have to appreciate his abilities and how he has directed this offense.
1st and 10, and Jeff Bentram escaped the Calgary pursuit, but he barely gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Ball carriers, the quarterback, Jeff Bentram. Stop was made by Joe Clausey.
Looking ahead to next week, the Stampeders and the Tiger Cats from McMahon Stadium on TSN. We'll look forward to that. And we'll look forward to seeing what the Stampeders do next week as well. Welcome back to Taylor Field in Regina. John Wells, along with Leif Pettersson and Peter Watts in the TSN Game of the Week. Calgary Stampeders have been in control of this game since early in the opening quarter. The Roughriders never really got on tracks offensively.
And when the game's over,
the speed of Jeff Fairholm inside, is that a bigger factor than we might have anticipated at the start? Ellingson has been able to make some catches, but I don't know that he's got Fairholm's speed.
I don't think it would have made the difference tonight, John. Of course, you know, Jeff Fairholm, having him out of the lineup, you're always going to miss him. But as far as the story offensively tonight for Saskatchewan, no, I don't think that made the difference. It was just not understanding what Calgary was doing and trying to take advantage of some areas maybe you should have thrown the football to.
I have another what if for you. What if?
All right, I like those what ifs.
Tom Burgess were still on this Rough Rider roster. Would they have yanked Austin a little sooner and stayed competitive in this one?
Are you ever flogging a dead horse here? I mean, he is gone.
Mark Guy, and it's behind him. Coverage by Junior Thurman.
They had to let Burgess go. I mean, you know, you got Bentram, you got Austin was your main man. Burgess wasn't happy. It's not good to have unhappy guys around over a long period of time. But they let him go. Tommy Burgess, great opportunity for him to be in Winnipeg, a club where he's got a great offense to direct, and I expect huge things from him this year. They are locked in a tight battle tonight out at BC Place.
2:44 to go. Here's Jeff Bentram on 3rd down. Bentram tries to get out of there himself. Now he throws the ball. Don Narcisse up for it. I'm not sure if he has the 1st down.
Don Narcisse.
They'll measure this one.
1st down.
And it is a Saskatchewan 1st down. (51-16). The Rough Riders can't come back from this as the Calgary Stampeders sit comfortably in control of this one. Almost picked off by Darryl Hall.
Mark Guy, marked away by Darryl Hall, number 7. 2nd and 10.
Well, we'll get a chance to find out if these Stampeders are for real. We go to Calgary next Friday night. The Ticats will be in town, and I would expect a pretty vocal and enthusiastic crowd to be at McMahon Stadium for that game.
time. Junior Thurman is there. And Bentram had miscommunication with his receivers. 2:21 to go. It's been a tough night for Rough Rider fans at Taylor Field. Good crowd on hand, over 26,000.
Junior Thurman with a good night. He had a big hit on Milson Jones on a third down gamble, knocked him out of bounds, kept him from getting that first down, and now he comes up with an easy interception.
No catch along the sidelines for Alan Pitts. With 2:15 to go. Flutie has the Lions on a roll in Vancouver, 14-6.
He is going to be a great one in this league, and I look forward to the next game that we do with BC Lions. See Doug Flutie perform. It's a wild league this year, though, isn't it? Hey, Ottawa beats Edmonton, and now you got BC getting back into the hunt. Winnipeg has not lost. Calgary, how about them? Now they'll find themselves undefeated after tonight. Anything can happen.
I guess with Saskatchewan winning the Grey Cup last year, we lose sight of the fact that the Stampeders did have a better record than did the Rough Riders in 1989. Managed a long punt, chasing Albert Brown back to the 15. Brown had one good return early, and since then, Stampeder special teams have had him pretty well shut down. Yeah, 63-yard kick for Matic that time. That helps the old average. He began the night with a punt average of 38.2.
You know, you talk about special teams, and of course the punter is so much a part of it. Last year he out-punted his opponent 14 out of 18 times.
This is the newcomer Paul Bushy. The first down, Saskatchewan. Into the final 2 minutes now. A minute 52 on the clock.
It's quite a factor when you talk about kickers, though. I mean, obviously 14 out of 18 times he out-kicked his opponent last year. I mean, they won the battles. They got some extra yardage on that, and that's one of those little things that you don't hear or read about too often. It's pretty important to the football club.
Mark Guy made the catch in front of Junior Thurman.
Take the penalty, Jeff. Hey, Jeff. Jeff. Jeff.
Stampeders were offside.
87.
They're going to run the 87.
Calgary 74, first down repeated.
Well, we'll file this one away in our memory bank, what old 87 is, and if we ever hear a audible at the line of scrimmage and hear him go 87, we're going to know what this play is. Let's check it out.
1st and 5, Saskatchewan. The 87 does not work. Another interception for the Calgary Stampeders. No.
Not quite sure what that play was. I think we had ins by the wide receivers with the inside guys trying to clear out.
Forward pass interference. Calgary number 7, first down.
Darrell Hall called for interference.
See, if you'd have been stressed out the last time, they wouldn't have got that first down.
Bentram picked off this time. Mark Singer in as a reserve linebacker has the interception. 7 turnovers by Saskatchewan.
That's a great catch by Mark Singer, getting a chance to play now late in the game. And as a rookie out of the University of Alberta, that's a super catch. Squeezed down the lane and comes up with his first interception as a pro.
A minute 28 to go now for the Calgary Stampeders. Tony Spallettini. Spallettini carries for about 4.
Balls at the 41.
Over down with this.
That tells a huge story tonight. Calgary, a team that doesn't beat itself, and very evident tonight in that turnover ratio. Saskatchewan coming into this game a +2 in the takeaway giveaway category. Very uncharacteristic for them to commit so many turnovers tonight. One of those days.
Long night at Taylor Field for the Rough Rider fans. Spallettini carries once more. It'll be 3rd down. 4 to go. Stamps already have 51 up on the scoreboard. A 46-yard field goal try for Mark McLaughlin. And he's on target once more. McLaughlin has had a decent night.
A lot of people at home might wonder, why would they rub it in by kicking a field goal? They're so far ahead with hardly any time left in the clock. But quite honestly, for a guy like Mark McLaughlin, he's off to a great start this year. And, he works hard all week practicing his trade, and here's an opportunity for him to kick the ball. So I have no problem with someone trying to kick a field goal late in the game. And who knows, at the end of the year, he might be up for a scoring title, and those 3 points could be the difference. So it's an unwritten rule around the league that nobody gets too upset about things like that anymore. Years ago, you used to get more upset than they do now about it.
Well, you'd remember that. You played years ago.
Oh, yeah. You have to remind me of that, don't you? Once a week, you do this to me. It's not the gray hair or anything, is it?
No. We met right here at this ballpark.
That's right.
38 seconds to go.
How can I ever forget?
38 seconds to go. First down, Saskatchewan. Benson for Tim McRae.
Benjamin's pass to Tim McRae.
54-16.
From the 35 to about the
Stampeders will move into top spot in the Western Division of the CFL with this victory, and they will be in sole possession of top place in the West for the first time since 1971 with a win. Stampeders not quite perfect, but the tie puts them ahead of the Edmonton Eskimos. Down to 22 seconds now. Jeff Bentram in relief of Kent Austin. Out for Tim McRae. It does look a little easier to move the football now against a spread out Calgary defense, but that's what you were asking for earlier in the game. A few shorter passes rather than the bomb leaf.
I really think they missed the boat tonight, and hopefully they'll correct those things when they have their meetings this week. And that's the kind of pass right there that they need to try and complete. And Slater Zaleski, getting a chance to play here late in the game, makes a nice catch. But hopefully Regina will iron these things out. Pal Sartori, the offensive coach, and the quarterbacks will get together, look at the film, and say, "Hey guys,
we messed up a couple of times.
Yeah, this is what we should have done. And if they learn from it, then that's all about it."
Tim McRae makes the catch. That could be the last play of the ball game as McRae gets down to the 15.
Hopkins at the final got the score.
Well, it's a long night in Riderville. 54-16, the Riders pummeled by the Calgary Stampeders.
August 14th. Game time will be 7:30. Start moving the BC Lions will be here.
You don't think Wally's happy down there, do you? Undefeated as a head coach. Pretty excited guy. He's done a nice job getting his team ready. And we will look forward to seeing them next week.
Not much doubt about the game star in this one. It'll be hard for the critics to find fault with the performance of Danny Barrett. 18 of 25 for 318 yards and 3 touchdowns. And this was his first and only rushing touchdown of the night, his 4th of the year. He rushed 3 times for 19 yards. He's our Molson game star, Danny Barrett of the Calgary Stampeders. 54-16, Stampeders win it. That's the final from Regina. And we'll have more with the TSN Turning Point when we come back to Taylor Field in just a moment. Time now for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you today by Firestone. Calgary Stampeders in complete command of this game. A lot of critics said they haven't been able to put the ball in the end zone through the air. Well, they sure did in the second quarter. Here's Danny Barrett under a big rush, but he finds Brock Smith for a 67-yard strike, and that made it 27-6. And from there, the Stampeders roll to their big victory. A cash donation to be made to the Coaching Association of Canada for the training and development of Canadian coaches in amateur sport. And so we have the first place Calgary Stampeders getting set to meet Hamilton next Friday. We'll have that game for you, but some thoughts now on their performance in this one. Here's John and Lee.
Well, it was a very dominant Calgary Stampeder football team here tonight, Peter, and I think, Leaf, any team that comes in and wins at Taylor Field does not usually win this easily. This is not an easy ballpark to win in it, but the Stampeders made it look that way here tonight.
Well, they really did, John. I mean, you look at all facets of their game, special teams, defense, and offense, and there really wasn't one area that I think Wally Buono would be concerned about tonight and tomorrow as he looks at this film. And they just have to say, hey, we had a great game, but tomorrow's another day, and we will go back to the drawing board and get ready for Hamilton next week, because I don't think it's going to be that easy as it was tonight.
Should we be surprised at the play of the Stampeders? I mean, they won last week. They came up with a tie week 1.
Well, I think they're a good football team, but quite honestly, I am surprised at the ease that they won with tonight. And you know, Wally Buono's got them excited about playing football. They blended in some new young guys, Joe Clossy in the middle, you know, a lot of enthusiasm, a few mistakes here and there, but still some enthusiasm. And, you know, like I blow a lot of smoke for Danny Barrett, and I think rightfully so. I mean, he's a guy with a huge heart, and the team seems to rally around him. They got 2 new young receivers, and Alan Pitts and Eddie Brown, that seem like they're on their way to being stars in the league. So they're an exciting team for us to watch, and good things are probably going to happen to them for the rest of the year.
Well, we'll maybe see a little more of that next week when they take on the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The Stampeders, overwhelming, completely overwhelming at Taylor Field tonight.
Saskatchewan Roughriders just played their first of 3 games in the space of 11 days. BC and Edmonton just ahead. Not an easy schedule at all. A reminder, next Friday we'll be at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. CFL report at 9 Eastern, 7 o'clock in the West. And then at the game itself at 9:30 Eastern, Hamilton and Calgary. And once again, the final score from Taylor Field in Regina. The Calgary Stampeders 54 and the Saskatchewan Roughriders 16. And now for John Wells, Lee Pedersen, and all of our broadcast people, this is Peter Watts. Thank you so much for joining us. So long from Taylor Field in Regina.